eastern and western Ukraine, like one side is like
super
Russian
they don't even
speaking.
speak the same language and shit.
Yeah, exactly. So one side is like all Russian speaking, and the other side is fucking like speaks different languages and shit. But like it's basically like there's a river that runs down the center of the country, and like one side is super like pro-Russia and wants to be part of Russia, and the other side's not. And in 2014, they like fucking did like a military coup and fucking went in and like took out the guy that was democratically elected to be the president of Ukraine, and then installed a Western.
Was it that you said 2014?
14, yeah.
That was that long ago? Because I remember the first time like Ukraine and Russia. What was it, like the Chimaev area or whatever, something like that? There was a border dispute right on the border. Probably right around then, but I thought that was a little bit longer ago than I thought.
That's kind of like after the coup in 2014 is when that shit started popping off. Like the two areas, or Donetsk and Luhansk, are two.
Be careful with that because I can hear that.
Former Soviet Union, like whatever they were part of the Soviet Union before, and once they overthrew the government, like those areas like didn't want to be a part of the new Ukraine, and like because they were Russian speaking, and when they first took over, they like outlawed the Russian language and like certain religions and like all kinds of shit. So like these people were like, that is our culture, like that is like who we are. So they were like, they didn't want anything to do with that, and they actually tried to secede from Ukraine and become part of Russia, and Russia was like, no, we don't want you guys to do that. But like at the same time, Russia was like looking out for them and like trying to make sure that they weren't, you know, getting fucked. And like because they were trying to secede, they were like literally like shelling them with artillery like every day from like 2014 all the way up until in 2022 when Russia invaded or whatever.
Well,
go ahead.
Here we are.
Oh, well, yeah.
I started a little bit ago, midway through your Russia rant. Nothing else new here. Fucking Jeff's always talking about the Jews and Russians. Fucking it just is what it is. But hey, welcome back. It's episode 71, tentatively, because I don't know if I'm going to release this first or the one that me, Max, and Bailey did on my birthday, because we were pretty fucked up. I probably am going to release that, but 70, 71, we're somewhere around there. So they could be interchangeable. But we're back, and man, I was talking to Jack last night. I think this is the first time that the four of us have actually like been able to just like sit down and talk, and probably since COVID.
Might get weird.
Like it might be about 5 years since we've actually just had time. Like we've been at shows and shit like that, but that's a completely different thing. Right. You know, you
just the four of us too, like for sure.
Like actually able to sit down and talk to each other, because like I might be at a show or something, and I might see Jack, but you're doing your own thing, you're doing your own thing, and then like it's not the same. So here we are. Your house, our rules. Shit could get a little bit weird, but
family edition.
Family edition. Family edition.
Like that.
That Spo Hilly fucking. You know what I'm talking about?
Something like that.
Spay Hilly? I guess it would be Spay Hilly.
Spay Hilly?
Yeah.
Or Spo.
That's what I said first.
Hey,
just
dash.
You said Spay Hilly or something.
I did say Spay Hilly because, or I said Spo Hilly, but that went to Spay Hilly because it's technically
hey,
was just
not
saying
Spo, like S-P-O.
Yeah, he goes it.
Shut up, Justin.
That's it, yeah, man. You're reaching.
You're reaching.
Shit, it is what it is, man. But what's up, y'all? What's been up recently? Because we've been all around recently. Justin was in Cincinnati like what, year and a half ago?
It's almost 2 years ago to the date that I moved out.
2 years.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Right.
Damn, I
think
can't
February,
believe that.
right?
Yeah, because I checked myself into treatment the day after Christmas.
Okay.
And it's been like 4 days there. So.
Do you want to talk about that a little bit? I didn't know.
I don't really give a fuck. I'm a pretty open book about it, but also like I don't really care.
Completely up to you.
2 years, almost 2 years clean from opiates, so we could leave it at that.
Okay.
We're not gonna go into depth on
congratulations.
that.
Congratulations. Yeah. A round of applause.
Not sober.
Yeah. And now you've just replaced that with alcohol. Fucking, he was all mopey and shit before, and fucking all of a sudden we get a case of Yingling, and Justin just fucking glowed up, bro. It was something special.
You got the Yingling?
I mean, that's where most adults get their Christmas spirit from. At least that's what I've
drinking.
I agree.
Yeah.
You have a couple drinks, drive your kids home.
Right,
Yeah.
right. I had to drive myself home this time, but you should have seen my mom on Christmas, man. There were just a couple times where, like, you could see her just checking out, like, leaning back in her chair,
She
eyes
was
closed.
sleeping in
Like,
the chair, yeah,
I know.
for a minute.
I know
Damn.
about your mom on Christmas, man.
Oh yeah, she'd be getting.
She's
lit.
a lot of fun before she crosses that final stage. That
Yeah.
final step.
And you know
That's
what?
most
Most
she
of us-
laid down on
Yeah,
the
oh
floor.
yeah, for
That's
sure,
it.
for
You
sure.
know what?
I'm not talking shit.
I actually commented on it this year. I was like, Mom, you know what? Usually, like, you have passed the line by now with the amount of wine that you've drinking, because she's like, just give me that bottle. And I gave her the bottle. And she had, like, half of it gone, and usually she's, like, being racist towards Max at that point in time or some shit like that. And but this time she was just, like, handling it well. I was like, the Villages has done you right. You guys are back in college.
Nice,
You guys are back in college.
nice.
Bro, I actually heard something online the other day specifically about the Villages, and they were saying that that area is like big time, you know,
STDs. Largest
big,
ST.
Well, big time like swinger. Like,
Yeah,
The
hot older
Villages.
women, hot
That's
older
what they
widows,
always
bro.
say,
Heading
but
down
you
there.
know, I've been down there and visited them a couple times, and they talk about the upside down pineapples. Like, people fly those to let them know that they swing or something like that. And like, when I'm down there, I know a couple of their friends, and I talk to them, and they're like, "We really don't know any swingers down here." I was like, "Are you just saying that because?"
Right. You
I
don't
know
want- you
one
don't
thing
want
though,
my
there ain't
son,
no
bro.
way my parents are swingers.
Yeah, man,
Not
no.
a fucking
no,
chance.
I feel like your mom would be like
I could
super, like she would probably bring the claws out, like if you know,
Like the Santa Claus.
The
like,
cougar
yeah,
claws.
yeah, if somebody like went after your dad, I feel like your mom would be, you know,
She'd be
the
anti.
She'd beat that
the
ass,
jealous
bro.
Type. Yeah, yeah.
Oh
for
yeah,
sure.
no, she'd beat that ass for sure.
That's funny.
For sure. But damn, I don't know. We're here.
Yeah.
Well, we got to talk about. I know Jack had a couple things that he wanted to talk about with OnlyFans cultures. We can bust open with that.
Sure.
No pun intended.
No, yeah, for sure.
Busted
Uh,
open.
Yeah, because the
don't
second the mics turn on, Jack all of a sudden just shuts off. He's like, "I'm just gonna wait my turn."
I got
Like,
yeah. I don't like to talk
He's
over people.
not like
it's
that,
not good
ever.
entertainment. Yes, I will talk over you in a situation where we're all chilling. I'm not going to talk over you for a podcast. No one wants to hear that.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
polite.
Whatever. Yeah, I'm a gentleman. I'm the gentleman of the group. For
I,
sure.
I think it's a smart move because honestly, you guys, all three, are pretty notorious for talking over each other
Just
when
yelling at her.
when there's not microphones in front of our face.
I try to
so.
back off so I can say something that's going to be heard. you
Well,
know?
say something, damn it.
All right,
And
all
say
right.
it with your chest.
All right. All right. So, what I wanted to talk about mainly as far as OnlyFans culture is like, where's the line? And I shouldn't focus so much just on OnlyFans culture, but broadly more about pornography and the detrimental effect on young people, especially like dating culture for the generation coming up. Broadly speaking, I mean, of course, I would wager that every one of us has utilized porn on a way that is like across the line, as most people have.
Only
But
the free version though.
I don't
Of
know.
course, yeah, that's
Like,
that's
what I don't get.
There's
That's
some
also
weird
the thing.
people out there. Like, I bet you dry jerk every time, and it's to lesbian porn.
Dry.
Like you don't have any jerkins in your house, and you specifically watch lesbian porn that you've been watching since you were 13 years old.
Jesus.
You can't trust those motherfuckers.
I feel like the line is gonna be subjective though. It's
For
kinda
sure,
like,
yeah, it's
but
not going to be the same for
something
everyone.
everybody's gonna agree
Right.
on, you know.
Well, I guess my thing, like Jeff said, like
Technical porn's
okay,
not for
like
everyone.
obviously watching a lot of porn in general, especially if you're like going to get more and more into kinks, which is it's what happens, right? It's not good for the way that we treat one another in general. But I will say, like you mentioned, like I've never paid for it at all either. I have friends who do like sex work, and that's totally okay. I think there's a line with that as well. But one of the reasons I even wanted to bring it up is I read 2 articles this month. Both of them occurring in the UK, where women were like hosting like one of them was 100 of their fans in the same day on
Be
OnlyFans.
careful.
dude,
Be
I
careful
saw that.
tapping the table.
Yeah,
That's
my bad.
Crazy.
Crazy. And then she did an interview
She didn't,
afterwards.
Like, remember some of it.
Yeah.
Oh, you're
she
talking
did
about the 150 guys or
the
whatever.
100, and she did an
It
interview
was-
after, and like you could see she's like breaking down, crying.
Yeah,
Like,
of
you-
course.
Dude,
and that's
it-
my thing is like that's the line. We can't be doing that to young women in this what
the
our
line's
culture.
Way below.
Yeah,
Oh, for
way
sure.
below.
You're right.
way
You're right.
below
The line is
150.
way below. But that's so extreme. It's like when I heard that, I was like, this has got to be
100
fake.
in a year is crazy.
Right. For sure.
Like that's once every 3 days fucking a new person. Like that's.
I feel like 100 in a
little
lifetime
but-
is probably above average for. I mean, if you
Yeah,
consider
yeah.
everybody, you know, like yeah.
For sure. Dude, speaking of that though, like I think the line is like different, like for both sexes. Like one of the things that I've noticed with the OnlyFans shit is like there's so many like women, like especially if you're a good looking woman, and like as soon as you turn 18, like you get into OnlyFans, and then all of a sudden like you're getting like some of the women obviously don't make shit, but like some women are just making like this ridiculous amount of money, like. And I'm not saying they're doing nothing for it, because obviously, like, you have to work at it. Like,
Well,
either
they're doing
way.
something. But
Well, right. Well, but what I'm saying is, like, their like attachment to like money and like monetary value is like they basically like having never had to like work a real job. Not saying sex work is not a real job. If it pays, hey, whatever. Like, I'm not against it by any means, but like their relationship to money is like so different than someone that like actually like like earns it by going and working like a 9 to 5 and
like a
putting
hard labor job.
yeah well, just like it's just like fast money, you know what I'm saying? It's like almost like drug dealing in a sense, except for it's like legal, like you're getting all this money like super fast. And like,
would you almost say that there's like no satisfaction out of it?
dude,
like,
some girls seem completely happy, but
well, I'm not talking about happy, but like being someone who's worked in like factory type job or some sort of like I work with my hands or whatever.
Yeah.
When I make something that's really nice or whatever, there's like a sense of satisfaction. It's
yeah,
like I built up a
you want to show people like check out this fucking piece of furniture that I made or something like that. And like if you're like making porn like 10 years from now, are you gonna be like, check out this porn I did 10 years ago? You know what I'm saying? Like, are you gonna have that sense of
Will
like
you still be proud of it?
Yeah, that's
or
what I'm
were
saying.
you
like,
ever proud of it?
Have y'all ever like heard of the Whatever podcast? Where that like that like
great.
It's a guilty pleasure of mine to watch
dude, that guy that comes on there all the time, the religious dude, I think his name's
Charlie Kirk.
Andrew.
Yeah, he's
dude, he's hilarious. But like
he's a
the
G.
way like he puts it to some like is like amazing, you know what I'm saying? Because he's like trying to get them to like self-reflect on the issues and stuff like that. And
he
like,
gets a lot of them too.
Oh,
as
for
well,
sure,
you
yeah.
know?
Like,
does he actually get a lot of them?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
dude.
he
He
crushes
has a bunch of them where they literally just stop talking. He's had several of them crying.
Well,
He-
just
he
because
runs
you
them
make
and-
someone stop talking doesn't
Well,
mean you're
there's
actually,
a difference.
Like,
There's
like when I hear get 'em, I think that like he's converted them to Jesus. 'Cause
There's
he's a
plenty
big
of 'em-
religious guy, but
There's
Probably
plenty of
some
them
of
that
them that he
default
gets.
to like fake crying, and it's obvious. He calls them out on it, but there's plenty of times I've seen where he puts them like into a logical corner where they have to recognize that they're.
Yeah, he's trying to get an actual answer from them, like them actually like thinking.
Yeah.
About it. And that's what I mean by like they like don't have anything to say at that point, because like he's basically like by just asking them questions got them to like go in their mind and like analyze the situation and then like realize that like they don't have like a legitimate answer for the situation.
I get because I've seen a lot of his reels where he does that, but most of the time I see it, it's like these women shut down because they can't just logically explain it, not because they feel any differently.
No, I agree. Yeah, no, I'm not saying that they all
People
like
who aren't
change.
prepared to have an actual argument. My bad. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like they're not prepared to go in and talk to somebody who debates professionally.
Yeah.
None
And
of
he
us will
does
be. It
because he's
doesn't
on
matter.
that podcast all the time, and
He
all
does
the
other
girls
shit
are just
too.
random girls that you've never seen before.
Sometimes it's borderline mean, and like sometimes I'm just like, okay, he's just being mean, but like he's coming from like a different like worldview, I guess. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like with the situation.
I truly believe his intention is to give them a perspective that nobody else is willing to give them because of the power dynamic of what they do and what they're known for and how they look and all that stuff.
Yeah, when he brings up their parents and like like do you think your father's like proud of like what, you know what I'm saying, or like would you want your daughter like doing this type of work, and like it's almost universally no. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, these OnlyFans girls that come, because there's like a select few that are making millions of dollars each month and stuff like that, and a lot of these girls that do OnlyFans or whatever, they find that after like a year, people get tired of them. It's just like watching porn. We've all watched porn or whatever. Fucking
Yeah, the same. You don't watch the same porn over and over again.
When I was 14, I had a fucking lesbian strap-on porn that I used to watch all the time. Now that I will go back to that shit, if I could even find it, and I'd just be like, this is kind of whack. Like, people just get tired of the shit. And not only that, but like you get into this thing where you put it online for everyone to see. You can screen capture anything, and a lot of girls say they regret it because, like, hey, some sleazeball out there fucking paid $20 to fucking get all your pussy pics and shit like that, and he just screenshots them and posts them online for everyone else to see. So I don't know.
I'll add on to that. I don't want to make it seem like I'm shaming women at all. I think it's a result of our culture, which is sick and has a lot of issues. They're doing what they can to make a lot of money. I don't have any envy or jealousy towards that. It's more so I wish that our culture did better to offer more to young men and women in general. And this is just a symptom of that problem. So I want to make that clear. I don't want to make it seem like I'm shaming or want to guilt anyone. It's just that you can see the damage that it does to young people, and we're doing nothing to address it. I don't want to say nothing. There's certain things, but like also I worry that our government is going to try to step in and take it too far, which that never really fixes anything because people are going to do what the fuck they want. So,
regulations just
like trying to
become an
ban it,
issue.
or I mean, there's already like a huge thing with Pornhub and other things where you have to like. It's a good thing to have to verify your identity so kids can't easily access porn, you know. But like you never know where the line, like how they're going to take that in the future. So it's just my input on that. Like I don't like government oversight on things where it comes down to like just freedom of and just being independent.
You get bogged down by fucking regulations, man. It's like been a problem. That's like one of the things that like Trump's trying to like reform is because like a lot of the regulations on any industry, and if they go this way with like the porn and OnlyFans and stuff, like it just makes it to where there's so much bureaucracy around it that like like the industry can't even function anymore.
Right.
Like because there's all these laws and rules that you have to abide by. And it just makes it to where it's like too expensive for. Obviously, it doesn't like necessarily relate to porn. It's not going to make it more expensive for, some girl to do OnlyFans. But speaking on which, when you first were saying it, like how there's two sides to it, I was going to say like the other side from like the male's side, and obviously
there's completely different things.
Well, yeah, well, I was gonna
when
say,
he was saying men and women, I was like, this kind of pertains to women more than
sure. No. I mean, I don't mean like men that do OnlyFans. Obviously, there's some that do, and I'm sure there's some that make
special to be a man. That does
that's what I'm saying. And I'm sure there's some that make plenty of money. Well, I'm sure there's a
stuff.
lot of them with like gay,
for sure,
like gay OnlyFans and stuff is probably like super popular because gay dudes are just like. Straight dudes and the fact that they're fucking sex hungry,
in the porn
fucking
industry,
maniacs,
gay male actors get paid a lot more than straight male actors do. It's just a thing that happens. So you get a lot of straight guys that are shooting gay porn films just to make money.
Yeah, well, they're actually gay, but
also, I'll go.
If you're shooting gay porn, if you're shooting gay porn, you're gay one way or another, whether it's for monetary value or not. But what I was gonna say about like the male side is like. Obviously, it's not just simps that pay for OnlyFans, but I would think that it's like 90% simps probably that are paying for OnlyFans. But like that side of it is, like just like super fucked up as well. Like you've got so many guys that like probably like don't even like talk to women on a regular basis. Like, and that is like basically an outlet for them. Like there's actually women. What's his name? Andrew Tate and them did this. Like. They like with the webcam thing, like they actually like hired people to talk to men in a way that like the guys would like respond to more.
It's
and like
shit. It's all designed to fucking get people to spend a bunch of money.
Well,
they feed on those fucking those incels.
Yeah, these guys think that they're actually talking to the women, but they're actually talking to some dude that's like trained to like. Talk to them like in a way that's like receptive.
A lot of that shit is fake too. They've exposed a lot of people who say like these females or whatever that like get this dude to spend $15,000 all of his life savings on her, and then to meet up or whatever, and then they never actually meet up. It's usually like a PR scam just to fucking boost numbers a little bit.
Yeah, well,
however the fuck that works.
It's just like streamers and like people that watch the same streamer all the time and donate money to them and shit like that. Like people form these parasocial relationships with the OnlyFans girls that they like subscribe to and send all their money to and like all this shit, and like dude, that is like probably like the biggest negative like that like to the whole situation. Like the girls that are making the money, like bravo to them and stuff, but like it's basically like they're preying on these people that fucking like one are probably too scared to talk to women, or they're like just like not they like view themselves as like that they're not like a quality man and stuff like that, so that like this is like the only option that they have, what I'm saying? And it's just like I don't know. That's like the most fucked up part of it all to me.
I feel like it kind of produces and encourages a even lower self-image than what you already have on both sides of the fucking fence in whatever weird ways. But what I wanted to get in there before I forget is the weird kind of dependency that sometimes I've seen girls, or acquaintances, what are like Facebook friends, that'll just come out of the blue and try to sell me content because maybe they need money at the time and like are given like that shit's not only inappropriate but also just a weird, like I hate that symptom that it's had on people that think they can make big money but they're not making
Are they friends that you've already had, or are they just new people adding you?
Most of them are girls I've added, but was never really that close with. Yeah, I don't know. It's never anybody I know on a personal level.
Okay.
But it's weird, man. It's like
It's strange.
It's like the female version of a dick pic, you know, like unsolicited. Like I didn't ask, I didn't give you any.
I've had like girls that I added, and it's been like a year or two later, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Are you interested in any content?" I actually had this one funny situation where this girl messaged me about like, "Are you interested in any content and like me doing my podcast and stuff like that?" I thought she saw that. I was like, "Yeah, what type of shit you got?" She's like, "I got pussy pics for this much, this much, this much." I was like, we're not on the same wavelength here. I'm sorry. Yeah, but I don't know. I don't necessarily see as much of an issue with that though. Like, I mean, you got to sell your content somehow. So if they're not like your actual friends reaching out to you, it just kind of is what it is.
I mean, I'm not gonna say I don't get it. It's just strange when there's been like. I don't know. It just has a general like vibe of desperation that can also lead to weird places of like, well, what else will you do for this money if you're in that need of it? You know, like it can be a weird like.
I know damn well you're not painting my fucking debt.
Huh?
I know damn well you're not staining my debt.
What the fuck do you mean?
Staining my deck.
You're not
Oh,
What else?
okay,
What else would you find
okay.
funny?
Yeah.
Dude, that'd be a funny response, dude. Like if I ever go in my inbox and see that, I'm gonna be like, well, if you really need the money, and they're gonna think it's like, hey, that's fucked up.
No, it's a meme where it's like this hooker told me that she $5 I could have anything I want, so I had to paint my deck.
But I've even seen it go as far as girls that like it's not even just personal messages like throwing out like literal like putting posts on their public Facebook like, hey, I'm short on cash, I'll give deals on content if anybody's interested. That's wild, like that's a lot.
I had one chick that was friends with one of my boys, and I met her at Lost Lands one year, and I added her. She was a little bit too liberal for my liking, but like I kept her added just cause whatever fucking reason. But all of a sudden out of nowhere one day, it was COVID, like right when it started kicking off, and all of a sudden she started fucking promoting her OnlyFans on her Facebook page or whatever. And she had a couple like braless but like with a shirt on, so she's not revealing too much, and you could see these nasty fucking super dome fucking nipples behind her shirt, and I was like, you are fucking disgusting. Why would you do that? Why would you do that?
Yeah, and honestly I kind of feel like, because I feel bad for the girls who thought they would be successful, but nobody.
That was one of them.
Nobody.
Yeah,
nobody won.
that's
I don't
one
feel
of the
bad
rough
for you.
things.
You're just stupid.
Yeah, well, that's one of the rough
I
things
also
about it,
agree,
because
but-
like now you're putting like your private like shit out there, like, and obviously like you were willing to do it in the first place, but like that's got to be like a shitty reality.
It's gotta have a
check,
bad,
man.
a bad effect on the mental.
Yeah, viewing yourself negatively after that. You fucking make OnlyFans and you make like absolutely nothing. Like,
well, hopefully people who go into it like are prepared to fail, just like anything that I would do.
Yeah,
you always gotta have in the back of your mind, like, well, I might suck at this. You can't let it get you down.
That's going to be a daunting fucking task. And that's what I think a lot of the issue is. I think a lot of them don't have that, like, daunting feeling before they go into it. They're just like, oh, I'm young and pretty. I can do this and make some money, but don't realize the long-term effects that it's going to have on
not just that, but, like, with anything, like, and this is where I'm set, like, earlier why I wasn't trying to make it seem like I was saying that it's, like, not a job, but, like, I'm sure there's some chicks out there that like aren't as hot, but like that actually work at it and like actually do form like not full relationships, but where they actually talk to the people that do support them. So I mean, if you have like 10 legit supporters that actually give you decent amounts of money, like consistently,
for personalized work.
And you actually like work those people, like then I can see someone actually making maybe not like a shit ton of money, but like making enough to make a difference. Like so you have to work at it unless you're just a 10, like
that is built into OnlyFans. Like there's certain tiers.
Yeah, for sure.
Subscriptions and stuff, and there is like private videos or whatever.
How do you know?
I've done
Got him.
Yeah, no, that looks real bad. I can honestly say I've never once paid for an OnlyFans, but this subject has come up on the podcast before.
I know what you're talking about. I've seen people talking about OnlyFans in the platform before enough to like vaguely know about it. But like, I mean,
honestly, I straight up think sex work is work.
Yeah, for sure.
But that is if there's a market for it and you provide
It's
that market,
work.
like it is. It's work, but that's like something like it's almost like one of those slogan rhetorical sayings that people throw in, like sex work is work. It's like, yes, it is, like, but like there's more to it.
But
than
do
just,
it well.
Well, I mean, do it well, but also
Even
like,
OnlyFans got lazy employees.
it's just a weird,
For sure.
when you're I don't know. There's work I've done in my life that I fucking immediately realized, like, I don't. This isn't worth whatever money they pay me. Like
my
it's like
time,
it's I don't know. It's like a matter of like integrity for me, and I think there's I don't know. I think everybody should have that. Have some kind of line there.
I agree.
But
Also, like, just when it comes to content creation in general, if you're making a ton of money, it would be nice to see people be more willing to, like, invest in their community. Like, then that makes me think always of Mr. Beast. Don't watch Mr. Beast. My son does, but I love how much he gives to people. That's cool. You're making a shit ton of money you never thought you were going to
He's
make.
a scammer.
Well, I don't know how much he scams. I think most people who
Pat-
are rich,
There's
but
been a lot
McAfee.
of stuff coming out about him being fucking
Pat
terrible.
McAfee.
McAfee's a G.
Dude, that
He's a
dude
G.
gives so much
Right.
all the time. Like, and like he's not even on that level of rich. I mean,
Right.
he is getting up there now because he does everything. He works
That deal with ESPN
NFL.
was fucking nine
That's what I'm saying,
figures, wasn't it?
the deal with ESPN, and now he does WWE, and he does fucking College Game Day, and he does the NFL Sunday mornings now. Like, he's on there as well, and then obviously his own podcast and all the brand deals and stuff. Like, I'm sure he's super wealthy
banking.
at this point. But like, if anyone deserves it, it's like that dude. Like, all throughout, like his time of doing that, he's always doing donations, giving money away, like
Yeah.
Love to see it.
giving money for like all this shit. And like, dude, and I'm not telling anyone like how they should like use their money and shit like that. But like,
Fuck it, tell
the,
him.
what I'm saying, like, the way that he donates and like gives back and does all these things, like, if other people that had fucking buku dollars like that were like the way he is, like, the world would like definitely be a better place. Like,
I think a lot
hands
of
down.
I think a lot of them are like Bill Gates, who's fucking one of the richest people of all time. He does a lot of philanthropy and stuff like that, but it comes off as fake just because he's not a genuine dude.
He's also
Pat
just a
McAfee's
horrible
just like a
person.
genuine dude. Like,
yeah. I mean,
but that's what I'm saying. Like, you have that fucking.
there's philanthropy to like in order to get write-offs, and there's like
Yeah.
philanthropy like just like
give back to
trying
your community
Yeah,
and-
just trying to be like like help other people out and like bring
Just 'cause you're a cool
other
dude.
people
also,
along. And,
what was that dude? Fucking,
Bill
I
Gates
can't
just
believe
got no gravitas.
I can't think of his name right now, but the crazy British dude that was diddling kids for decades and got to his grave without.
Jimmy Savile or
Yeah,
whatever.
Jimmy Savile. He was a huge philanthropist, and he very clearly used it so that when people tried to throw any shade on his name, well, look at all this good he
what I
does.
do.
you know,
We
like-
watched that at Eller's house that one
Dude,
time.
he
it's
was
fucking-
he was
it was-
one of the
it was
most
something.
evil like he did like all these things where
Bro,
he
it was
was
he
just-
had
he
mental
would go-
hospitals built.
Yeah, that's
he
what
was
I'm
just
saying.
going in mental
Yeah,
hospitals,
he would
having
go-
them built just to rape
Yeah,
fucking
he-
retarded. Respect.
He would-
fucking, I wish.
He would
Jesus
go
Christ.
go into hospitals and shit and fucking like make it seem like it was for a good cause, and he was like fucking raping people that like couldn't like resist. Like, obviously raping anyone's bad, but like people that couldn't speak about the issue. Like, dude, you got like he had to be like so fucked up and like demented on another level that like that's where he got to, and like preying on people was like dude, man, that's just like. He was like going to fuck vegetables and shit like that. Like, that's crazy.
And he had people so
dude.
fooled. I mean, maybe there's
Yeah.
a
Well,
fucked
it
up
wasn't-
element to this, but like he ended up getting what do they call it, OBE, and like he was
How did we
knighted.
get here?
Yeah,
and
he
he
was-
was like the crown
How
was
did we
even
get
asking him for like advice.
Well,
on
no,
shit,
that's the thing. That's part of the
because
reason
of the way
why.
the public viewed him. And
Well,
stuff.
that's part of the reason why he was viewed the way he was, because he was
was
so
knighted,
connected,
wasn't he?
Yeah, he was so connected
Yeah.
to the royal family. Dude, he could go into like Buckingham Palace and like go through back doors and like bring people in and like not have to go through the guards and stuff. Like, he was sneaking
But
like.
shit, wasn't Prince Henry one of the big guys on
Yeah,
Epstein's Island? Or some
yeah,
shit?
well,
one of the princes.
not Prince Henry. It was what's the other one's name? The one
William?
that did that 60
William?
Minutes interview. No, god damn it, what's his name? He did
It
that.
doesn't matter.
He did that 60 Minutes
one
interview,
up.
like to try to make it seem like he was, like when that one girl came out and said that he raped her at like Epstein's mansion in New York or whatever. He did like a 60 Minutes interview to try to like calm things down about that, and it was like one of the like notoriously like worst interviews that like anyone's ever done about like the situation. But yeah, no, that's part of the reason why Jimmy was able to do the fucked up shit that he was, because he had all these huge, massive people like speaking to his name and like saying that he was, because there was like people throughout the years that like tried to come out against him, and they basically got like shut up and like, you know,
well, they were retarded. Who's gonna listen to
like everybody. Early on it wasn't just like that. Like there was plenty of people that tried to come, just like Epstein. There was plenty of people that tried to come out against Epstein too, but because like he, like the cops were basically in his pocket, like literally, like they were so big, like just like Diddy. Like he was so big and so protected for so long that
I'll tell you what,
when people tried to do anything about it, like it became more of a hassle for them to try to speak up on the situation. Like,
you know what?
They hit you.
Oh,
with
he got really
lawsuits
ballsy too. Like towards the end, like of like when people would keep bringing it up, he would just
at the end of your life, why not?
I mean, even just in the last decade, you know, you could tell he was absolutely certain that he nothing was going to happen.
touched.
Yeah. It was fucking gross, dude.
Just one time, I'd like to see like one of these child pedophiles at Epstein's Island or whatever, just like straight up admit it on like live television, because I would love to see like what the reaction is from the populace about that. I lightweight don't think that people would do shit about it. They'd just be like,
I don't know.
We didn't do shit, dude. Fucking the entirety of the Epstein like island being exposed and thing like that. The fact that absolutely nothing came out of that is the wildest shit of all time that's happened on Earth, bro.
I will say this, like the timing of that, like that shit all happened like in the height of social media censorship. So they were like, you know, shadow banning like any people that or just getting rid of their channels completely. People that were actually talking about the actual what was going on and like the good information getting out there. They were like fucking getting rid of all that shit. Like,
but
fucking...
it still is confirmed that Epstein had an island where he'd bring these people over to rape children.
No, for sure. But that's why like they're still like
how did nothing become of that? Is the point that I'm trying to make.
People are still pushing like to this day for like his like client list to come out and stuff like that, because people know that fucking Bill Clinton was on his plane a shit ton of times. His plane was literally called the Lolita Express. Like his. Mm-hmm. Dude, it's mind-boggling, but like they because of all the people that he was connected to, and because he was like with intelligence, like they like had to do everything in their power to cover that up.
You snuck that in there so fucking cleanly or whatever. There's really no proof to prove that he was intelligence. I know we're gonna get you started or whatever, but like that's the thing that like when it comes with you or whatever,
I can in three sentences.
A lot of the stuff you say is conspiracy, whether or not it is true. Bro, there's nothing to prove that.
Who was his mistress?
Ghislaine Maxwell.
Okay, who's Ghislaine Maxwell's father? You have no idea.
One of the NUMEC people. Fucking, we're gonna go down that whole road.
Mossad,
Robert Maxwell. Yes, he was one of the most famous Mossad agents in the history of the Mossad. And not only was he also that, but guess what he did to make his money? Fucking media. He like owned like all these fucking news channels and magazines and all these things. Like to control narrative. Like that's part of how the intelligence of the operation, how all that works. It's not just the Zionist agenda. I literally sent you guys that video to watch the other day. It's not just it's literally
let's not derail too much.
No, it's all organized crime. It's not just like they just are part of it. Like it's not just them. They all do it. Like J. Edgar Hoover, the FBI, like how they operated was through blackmail. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
And that's how they all work.
But the thing is, just because it's true doesn't necessarily mean that we can state it as fact.
Dude, yeah. Do you know, like, when Epstein got arrested the first time in, like, 2001 or 2002 in Florida, the guy that was supposed to be prosecuting him said in court that he was told to let it go because he belongs to intelligence.
Yeah, I do know that story.
Okay, so did I not just prove that he was intelligence right
Not necessarily.
Well,
at the end of the day,
Google it.
I don't think any of us can really prove half the shit we
bro.
talk about.
That's why I said it.
Because it's like kind of the problem. Like we all get secondhand information, but like that's pretty good way to back up your claim. You know, like I gotta say that.
No, dude, Jeff always has like structure to the things that he says. Like I believe a lot of the things that he says, but my whole thing is just like it still is based in conspiracy.
It takes
the older and older I get, the more and more I realize that these conspiracy theories may or may not actually be true, but it's still a may or may not.
I will admit this. It takes a lot of steps to get to where I've gotten, and like it's hard to just like explain what I know from this, and this. You know what I'm saying? Like for someone who hasn't been through all those steps to understand that information, it's like, you know, it takes, and I understand, like when I'm saying this, like
It's a
you
lot.
haven't seen all of the information that leads up to that, and
Yeah,
that
but
makes it to where, which I mean, I get that.
No
like,
dude who's just in Cincinnati should know all the shit that fucking like Hunter Biden has on his laptop. Like, fucking shit.
Hey,
You know what I mean?
That's what
I think everybody should not to that extent, but I think everybody should like look for this in like not specifically this situation, but look for the information to like
seek truth, man.
to be educated and to actually understand like what's actually going on is the only way where you can actually like have change in the world. Like if people are just clueless and they're just voting based on party lines, like nothing's ever going to change.
Yeah,
Like,
but see, I know I've had this conversation with you on a couple podcasts too. My viewpoint of it is, but why? Like, you can look into the truth, you can know the truth or whatever, but nothing is going to happen from it.
No, I will say I believed that for a long time that was the case, but like the age of the internet like is basically like the age of enlightenment, like because now the information can actually get
but it's also
spread to other people.
desensitized us to a point where we don't fucking recognize it.
To a certain extent, but like that's why when we had the podcast after Elon first bought Twitter, and I was saying how like he paid, like people are like, oh, he overpaid by like a land, but like in my opinion, like that shit's priceless. If you have the money, obviously it's not priceless. It's a lot of money.
And that's great, but a lot of people look at the bullshit that's put on Twitter and are like, fucking, this is garbage conspiracy.
No, and I understand that, but it is the one place, like at least mainstream place on the internet where speech is mostly free. There's still some things that get censored on Twitter.
That's a huge problem with the whole seeking truth, like just idea is people are too easily manipulated towards comfort. Rather, like they would like if lies are more comfortable than the truth, they're gonna go with the lies every time. And that's a bit of a generalization, but like it's kind of obvious that a lot of people do that, you know, and especially in the world that we live in today, where so much secondhand information going on. There's just never that much like willfulness to like go behind somebody, and like if they say something that you kind of agree with, it's like, oh yeah, he's fucking right, you know.
He's right.
That happens a lot. I do that, you know, like, but it's good to have reasons to trust where your information is coming from, and I don't think anybody really holds that. Well, I mean, a lot of people don't hold that to high regard.
Yeah, but I don't think anybody can really like truly believe that.
What do you mean? Truly believe what?
That the information that we get is right, because everything is so proper.
Well, yeah. Like you have to, like, we're all taking secondhand information. Like that's where everything I know comes from. You know, like even in school. You know, there's so few things I know that I know because I've tested it. You just take people's word for shit.
Yeah, you have to. There's a skill to like deciphering the bullshit or whatever, but at the same time, it's like, who am I to say that the shit that I've heard and been able to decipher is right compared to everything else?
Well, I always try to hold out the possibility, the very real possibility that I'm fucking absolutely wrong about everything I think is true.
Right.
You know, I don't know. I really don't.
Yeah, I don't.
I believe it.
I admit that too, but at the end of the day, you do believe it, so it becomes objective at that point.
And well, yeah, exactly. But that's how everybody is. And
Well, I mean, like even history, like you're literally taking like the word of someone who obviously like they're credentialed, like historians and stuff. Like, but like if you go like even further back in history to like beyond the point where like anyone like is, you know, like alive today, or even like beyond like where like my grandpa like actually heard firsthand stories from like his grandpa or something like that. Like once you get beyond like that area where like no one alive today heard it firsthand from someone, you know, like once you go way back in history, like all the history that we have from like ancient civilizations and
Game
stuff,
of telephone.
it was literally just stuff that we found thousands of years later and then like deciphered it, and then like, you know, like, okay, now this is history. But like what if some of the like history that we believe is history was just like a good book that somebody wrote, that person was like a famous author back in the day, and that's just the shit that was found, that was left over.
The entire
from
Old Testament
then.
is kind of like that, even in like Catholic or Christian doctrine now, depending on the sect of Christianity or whatever. But like nowadays, the Old Testament is just considered a book of metaphors to give you like
morals,
a path of life or whatever. Yeah, morals. And back in the day, as early as like 300 years ago, that was considered like church doctrine, real shit, fucking creationism, like type shit.
Fucking ask Galileo how he feels about that shit.
Fuck Galileo. He was a pagan.
I think that's kind of like where I like rooted my biggest problem with so many religions. Like when I was much younger, is like I took it so literally, and I've started to have like a more metaphorical outlook on like anytime somebody mentions God or whatever they believe in, like I like have a way of relating to it more now than ever. I don't know. That's a pretty cool thing. I'm not
taking like an understanding from it instead of taking it so literally.
Yeah, and that's the way it is supposed to be. But speaking from like the Roman Catholic upbringing that I have or whatever, even since I've been a kid in the 90s, they've changed a lot of doctrine just to fucking appease the people so they don't leave the fucking
modern
church.
times.
Yeah, like the Catholic Church just backing gay rights is absolutely crazy.
They don't care about
Dolly...
people taking it home. They want people to keep coming to church.
Yeah, that's all it is. And with the modern era, with the social era that we have, with all these social medias or whatever, everyone's connected around the world or whatever, and that makes people wise up. I'm a strong believer.
The Pope is right, okay, because the Dalai Lama is kissing little boys with tongue.
Sucking their tongues, bro.
But hey, speaking
moment.
Yeah, I know, dude. That's crazy.
I heard that little boy was into it.
Speaking about religions,
that was crazy. I mean, it was fucking nuts, dude.
Hey, well, you were saying though about like religions and like like not being true and like all all that stuff, like more of like the stories and stuff. What's crazy though, like especially nowadays, like when we're actually figuring out more about like catastrophism and like catastrophic events that have happened in history.
Catastrophism.
Yeah,
is that a fucking word?
Yeah,
it is now, baby.
Pull it up, Jamie. Pull it up.
Pull it up, J-Mo.
But look, so like the biblical flood myth and stuff like that. Like obviously, it's not just in the Bible. There's like ancient flood myths.
Boom. There it is.
I told you it's a word.
So many of them.
Geology noun, baby.
Yeah,
I can't read from here. I think I need to get my eyes
The theory
checked.
that changes
Way
in
to
the
go,
Earth's
Jeff,
crust during
on
geological
catastrophism.
history have resulted chiefly from sudden, violent, and unusual events. Catastrophism.
Damn.
there you go.
Boom.
Jeff knows his shit, man.
This is more proof of me
No, he
actually
doesn't.
knowing what the fuck I'm talking about.
Quick plug for LASIK. That's my LASIK at age
People of
37.
Palestine.
Go to Dr. Wang in Nashville, Tennessee.
But no, what I was saying, like obviously, like people, like obviously thinking that the flood was bullshit and like not legit, and then
It sounds like a tall tale. Like
yeah,
you have
right.
to imagine that it is. Right?
And then you go across all these other ancient like texts and stuff like that, and there's like myths of like floods and shit like that, like all the way across the like as far as you can go in ancient histories, and like so now we're proving that like at least that part's true. So what else could actually be true from from ancient texts? Like if you like.
Plus, if you've never seen an event like that, which it's always a once in a lifetime thing, like how are you gonna report it?
Yeah, it's not even once in a lifetime. Like really,
well, I mean, if it happens to you, it's not gonna happen again in your lifetime.
That's
what
one
I
of the
meant.
things I was putting Jack on to like this class. It's called Cosmology 101. Randall Carlson was teaching at this university in Atlanta, and like he's breaking down like basically what you were saying, like how would you interpret that, like if you're like if that shit happens to you, and like some of like the ancient myths about like dragons and different things like that, like that, like he talks about how that could be like an interpretation of what like what when like a comet that's like an airburst, it's like an icy comet, like when it breaks open in the sky, like and doesn't actually hit the ground, it like the sky just rips open into a fucking massive fireball. So like they associate that with like like a fire breathing dragon or like different things like that. But
Well, on top of like, how do you even interpret that if you're gonna write about it? But how do you interpret the writing like way later when you've also never like?
Yeah. I mean, for sure. I mean, I don't know. It's
people can read and decipher Sanskrit now, so I mean, you put enough time.
Dude,
into
AI and shit too. Like being able to like fucking break that shit down like with computers is fucking crazy advanced. But what I was saying is like before the Younger Dryas, like, you know, you go back 10,000 years, like that's a long fucking time in like a human lifetime. But like as far as like the Earth's timeline, like that's not that far like back. And, you know, like just look at all the like megafauna and stuff that are extinct, you know, that were around before then and stuff like that. And now obviously this goes a little bit like off the rails because we haven't found any like fossil evidence or anything, at least none that's been disclosed to people. Some people believe they found giant fossils and covered them up and shit like that. But like if you go back in, you know, like 10,000, 12,000, 20,000 years ago, like there's a possibility that like at a certain time that there could have been multiple types of hominids like coexisting. Like obviously Neanderthal and Homo sapien are actual different species of hominids.
That's a big theory.
You're right. Well, that's what I'm saying. So if you go back 20,000 years,
yeah.
Well, so if you go back 20,000 years, there could have been 5 to 6 different types of hominids all like coexisting on like. So if you think about it like from that sense, think about like Lord of the Rings or something like that, like how there's dwarves and like elves, like not necessarily elves, but like there literally could have been all these different
survive.
Yeah, well that's what I'm saying. And then once they all got wiped out and then like only one race survives, or like the few that do end up like interbreeding and creating a new species or whatever. But I mean, anyway, like the whole point was like at a certain point, like biblical like giants and whatever, like different, maybe like there is like some credence to that shit. Fucking,
Did y'all watch the podcast that I sent you? The newest Lex Friedman podcast. I can't remember who it was.
You sent it yesterday. I haven't had time to watch it.
It was talking about like the real amount of like extraterrestrial or like intelligent beings, or habitable planets, that whole Drake equation, Fermi paradox and shit like that. Mm-hmm. He said that even if we did have like visitations or like this other different species that was kind of hominid back like even a million years ago, he said even if like they had smartphones or whatever, he said the ability to have something fossilized or whatever at like that point in time, it's so rare that there's going to be no evidence of any of it.
Yeah. Dude, do you know what the guy's name is? The guy that was on that podcast?
It was literally his last podcast. So if you type Lex Friedman's podcast,
I'm just wondering because like when you were texting me about it, like I was literally watching a Sean Ryan. Speaking of which, do y'all know who Sean Ryan is? Mm-hmm. He's a former Special Forces guy. Yep. His podcast is fucking pretty dope too.
You sent that Antarctica earthquake or whatever.
Yeah.
From like a year ago.
Yeah, there was. That was kind of. Yeah, well, I mean, anyway, I was literally watching a video, a Sean Ryan podcast, and the guy that was on there was literally a scientist, and he was talking about a lot of the shit that you're saying that like the Lex Friedman podcast was talking about. So I'm wondering if it was the same guy. Like that's
I think it was Frank something or something.
It's possible because people do these like podcast tours.
They go on tour.
They're like on
this guy, his name is Avi Loeb apparently, but like the episode was like about detecting remnants of alien technology like in space and on Earth.
This one was a lot more like science based because I think he was like an astrophysicist. I'm pretty sure I've seen. This guy's
a scientist too.
The guy that I'm talking about, I'm pretty sure I've seen him on like Joe Rogan, like one of the astrophysicists that he has on there, and it really went in depth about a lot of the new advancements that we've had to actually like have these equations that help us pinpoint like the what actually is out there. But it's one of those things where, and this always happens when I talk about like the Fermi paradox or anything like that, once you get to talking about it and you start just getting farther and farther into that rabbit hole, you realize just how many possibilities there are to make life not appear, life appear. what is it, the Great Divide or some shit like that.
The distance that anything would have to travel just to get here, like, is
that type
like,
of stuff. Like,
it's crazy.
They were
like,
talking about there's a high probability that even if there were advanced civilizations, they'd probably be extinct by now.
Yeah, the times of it like lining up, like, or like, because like it takes so long just for the light to get here from those other star systems that like even if we were to be able to detect life on a civilization like from another star system, like by the time that, you know, like obviously like when that light gets here, that happened billions of years ago.
And we've only been here for a blip of space in the entirety of the universe.
Doesn't matter. We've got life in our solar system anyway, for sure.
I think it was Brian Greene on his
100%.
latest.
For sure?
Latest,
For sure.
What?
Like I would place half the money I've ever made on that. For sure.
Well, I think that it's. I think there's a probability of it, but I wouldn't say for sure.
Probability, like enough for me to bet on it. I'm just saying.
No, Brian Greene was saying on his I hate to quote other podcasts here, but on Joe Rogan this last time about how like physics tell us that it is absolutely possible to like bend space time. Like say we figured it out to where we could travel light years, like just under the speed of light, and like if we did do that, even at like a relatively small number of light years away and back, the amount of time that would pass on Earth, like there'd be like there's no way to get back in time to report to the people you left here. Like
yeah, like, that's like theory of relativity and shit like that.
Yeah, it's
I fall asleep to a lot of like that type of shit. There's a bunch of shit that I fall asleep, but I'm not going to be able to do this justice. But there's explanation of like the theory of relativity and like that whole thing, how like time moves differently and shit. And it was using like a plane on this landscape or whatever. And it was saying if you aim the plane this way and there's a kid riding a bike this way, it's moving away from this other object. And that makes it exponentially farther when you do it. I'm not doing this any justice, so I'm probably just going to stop it. Like, oh, fuck, I wish I could remember what the fuck it was. It did a good job, like, because the theory of relativity, like, I know that it is something that whenever they test it, it checks out. Yeah. It is something that has been proven over and over again to be a thing, but I've never really understood exactly what the fuck it says.
Well, that's why I love certain like
do you
certain people like Brian Greene who have this ability to make their like vast amounts of knowledge like digestible for.
And that's one of the things that they always said about like Stephen Hawking that was so great outside of like the stripper midgets on Epstein Island. Fucking the fact that he was just able to explain the things that happened to dumb it down to a point like a normal person could understand.
Yeah, that's the key, is being able to make it something that people can hear and be like, oh, well, that doesn't blow my mind right now. So, you know.
Or bore the fuck out of me. Because sometimes hearing people talk about probably pretty relatively like debatably important shit to like our progression as a human race, like sometimes hearing people talk about stuff is just like, I'm falling fucking asleep, you know, like I can't. You have to make it more entertaining. That's like a symptom of the culture, and you know.
Yeah, I think that there is a level of entertainment that these guys do have, but at the same time, I think that they have a certain genre that they're hitting on there to get people to view. Because like I know damn well I love Neil deGrasse Tyson and shit like that. He's fallen off a little bit for me, but like. I watch him speak sometimes, I'm like, this is so fucking crazy. And then I think to myself, like, 98% of the world would absolutely hate everything that is going on right here.
No, man. I think most people, if they took the time to see Cosmos Season 1, would just suck that shit down, dude. It's
good stuff.
But that when you're talking about, like, that space, that's, like, top-tier production made for the average
It's not just fucking Neil.
Yeah.
It's a recreation, too, so.
Right. But... No, it's just certain people do have that ability to, like, it's not that you have to entertain me. You just, like, have to, like, somehow, like, meet me in the middle and keep my attention. It's, you know, it's something that, I mean, you don't have to consider, but it's good that people are good at it, you know? Like, I could listen to Brian Greene and, what's the other, isn't there another Brian or another Greene? You know,
Brian Cox.
Brian Cox, I was about to say that.
Both those guys, I could listen to those guys talk fucking all
Green
day.
If we're gonna
Cops.
do this, we got to shout out Carl Sagan, R.I.P.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
G,
why I
bro.
brought up the original Cosmos. But that's why I was talking to you the other day. Like, I still watch Lex Friedman's podcast, but man, his voice is so monotone and boring. like,
See,
he's-
I didn't
he's
quite
tough to-
understand that. And the thing about Lex Friedman, which is probably
I like Lex.
Yeah,
it's
he's cool.
probably my favorite podcast. But the thing about him, like, yeah, his voice isn't the best to listen to, but also his podcast is mostly him letting his guests speak, and
He's a great-
he doesn't speak often, but when he does, you can tell that he's educated on the subject matter.
He gives a
and is able-
platform to a lot of scientists that like wouldn't get like the time of the day for like most people to listen to too. Like that's what his is mostly
Yeah.
centered around,
Yeah.
which is awesome.
and like he kind of is like Rogan in that aspect, which Rogan is kind of the king when it comes to just like letting anybody and everybody on and making it interesting somehow. But the difference between like Lex Friedman and Joe Rogan is Lex Friedman seems to like steer it in a way that is more educational, because I feel like the IQ of people who watch Lex Friedman compared to Joe Rogan is just exponentially high.
You know, Lex Friedman's dad is like a fucking like nuclear physicist or something, like a big time
studied-
Russian.
like a plasma engineer or whatever.
Yeah, something crazy. Yeah, but he's so Lex has got a good education.
Didn't his dad work in Chernobyl or some shit like that?
I don't know about that. I know that he's like his dad is like full like Russian speaking, like like fluent, like he was.
He speaks fluent Russian. I would love to watch an interview between him and Putin. Love to. He wants to get him on.
Yeah, Lex was talking about that.
That'd be cool.
Speaking of like voices that are kind of rough to listen to, I love the character arc of Tucker Carlson.
I thought
but
you were going to say
God
me.
damn it, dude, his laugh.
Tucker's
His
laugh
laugh is
is
rough.
fucking.
It's
yeah.
almost as bad as Bert Kreischer's. It's fucking.
Hey, Tucker's the man, dude. Being able to like admit when you were wrong about shit, like on that level, like with the amount of people that support him, like he could have totally stayed down one narrative and been super successful and made buku fucking money from that, and like. Obviously,
that's
like
integrity.
yeah, integrity for sure. Like, dude,
Integrity, not
Integrity, baby.
I fuck with Tucker big time. So
Bro, his interview with Putin was so dope.
yeah,
I still
So
haven't
fucking
seen
cool. It's crazy.
I
Like,
didn't watch the whole
the
thing.
first like hour of it is Putin literally like, sit down, bitch. You're gonna
Yeah.
listen to the story I have to tell you, and he's like basically going back at like over the history of Russia, like for like 1,000 years.
That's why there's a level of
Yeah.
fucking just respect.
Well, and like, there's actually like a post-interview thing, like where Tucker's talking about it, or like he was like talking to someone else just about the interview, but he was talking about how like at first like he was like getting mad because like he felt that like Putin was like blowing him off on purpose, but then like I guess he realized like after someone else brought it to his attention or something like that, like no, he was like. Basically, like the only way that you can understand like the geopolitical situation of
Is for
Russia
him to explain
today
it.
is if you know the history
background,
of
yeah.
Russia and of the Soviet Union and of these countries that,
Yeah.
like I was talking about, one half of Ukraine like literally like sees themselves as Russian. So like you have to
kind of
understand
matches
that.
the narrative too, because he is authoritarian as fuck.
Yeah, we have to understand that like all these people like used to be a part of Russia before it was broken up by outside forces. Obviously the Soviet Union was very evil and did some fucked up shit.
Were
but-
they evil?
Yeah, I mean,
I don't believe in good and evil,
I'm
brother.
not the history guy.
what superpower hasn't done crazy?
yeah, right. I mean,
Absolutely, like
the
genocidal
U.S.
or
has
controlling
committed
shit.
so many horrible atrocities too. Like,
Yeah,
fucking.
that's why like saying the USSR was evil compared to like the United States, like really?
Well, at the time, it was like they're evil and like the Nazis are evil, but like we need to team up with these evil guys to take out these evil guys. So I mean,
Bro, the amount of deals we signed with Native Americans and like
and
just backtracked them within
Yep.
months, and they're like, okay, well, we're gonna renegotiate and we're gonna fuck you again.
Still going on.
It's crazy.
It's still going on.
It's
To
crazy.
Be clear, it's still
Like
going
George Washington's one of my favorite people ever, but like learning how he handled some of that, it's like, God,
Why is George
dude.
Washington one of your favorite people?
bro, he's just a cool like.
George Washington
It's
was a
because
badass
it's
dude.
because some of the
Sure,
stories
but-
I've heard about him. Like, first of all, like I imagine, like, okay, people were shorter back then, and he's
He
just
wasn't.
towering over
Yeah.
everybody. And like, there's just a
Redheaded.
couple scenes, and I don't know how true they are, how much
You know
more
his teeth
historical
look crazy,
exaggerations.
too.
Yeah, bro.
You know they look terrifying.
And like he
Like
was
that
that.
Shane Gillis.
There's some stories of him just like where I mean, like you're rolling into a war. You obviously are more motivated, but they're outgunned. They have less people, and he just had like no fear. He's just one of those guys that you're like, this motherfucker just had the biggest balls. Like he got some plums, bro.
Talking about him going across the Delaware,
Going across the Delaware.
on the fucking
It's so
frozen
funny.
cold day. They're like, nobody's gonna try and cross this river today, and he's like this big fucking gangly motherfucker with red hair, fucking.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, dude, that shit is fucking epic. Dude, the
He's a
founding
genius,
fathers
dude.
are just like. People literally don't know. I don't know as much about him as I need to know about him. I mean, I'll be straight up with it. But most people's knowledge of the founding fathers is like basically nothing. And like people really don't realize how fucking awesome most of those guys were, like on another level. And most of them were like in their early 20s and stuff when they were fucking founding the country and signing the Declaration of Independence.
I was
going
to ask were they really awesome, but to just kind of invent like an entire thing with just like democracy and the people.
Oh my
fucking
god,
choosing.
yeah, dude.
Whether
They
or
thought
not
of
it's panned out.
They
in the
thought of
future.
like everything, dude. Like in order to like
Did they?
basically-
Because the right to bear arms, fucking shit, fucking. We don't
It's
have
like-
predator missiles.
They considered a very wide spectrum of things that is like it deserves fucking respect, and also they surely were not without flaw as any human is, but they had balls to do something about their situation, and it fucking worked,
they also had a little bit of an advantage though. Like if you think about it, the Revolutionary War in America, like in order for Great Britain to like maintain the United States, they had to ship people on these old wooden ships for months at a time across the fucking ocean.
You're also talking about one of the most wealthy fucking empires in the history of the world. So like they had the money and the means to do it if they wanted to. But I will agree with you. Logistically, it would have been very tough, and they would have poured a shit ton of money
even
into
today
doing it. But
in advanced warfare, fucking America is nothing to be fucked with geologically. Like fucking, we stretch coast to coast.
Geologically, for sure, we would be so hard to battle.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, that was like the one advantage that they did have, but like they didn't have the technology on their side. They didn't have the numbers on their side. Basically they had everything against them except for the fact that the other side had to come across the ocean.
You don't need the technology on your side. I mean, we can look at Vietnam in that aspect. All Vietnam needed to do was survive. All they needed to do was guerrilla tactics, just like we did.
I was going to say, speaking
War.
of Vietnam, the guerrilla tactics and shit was like where we had that huge advantage. Fucking
knowing your land and fucking and utilizing it.
Yeah, for sure.
If we turn this fan on, it's going to be an issue with audio, right?
It might with that microphone. We can try it.
Bro, I'm fucking burning up.
Are you gonna speak up?
I'm gonna try, bro. I don't want to talk over y'all.
Say something. Yeah, you always say that. You talk over everyone else unless we're on the podcast.
Yeah, because I don't want to be rude. But I'll do it more. Jeez.
He doesn't have anything to add except for gay jokes and
I'm starting to realize, dude. Fucking, I'm over here thinking Justin's gonna be the quiet one, and fucking Jack's over here like fucking. I'm gonna bring up OnlyFans and then just let fucking the rest of them talk the whole time.
Is there anything else specifically that you guys want to touch on about anything? Because I would like to briefly readdress the drone situation. Again, just because like there's been some like updates and stuff since we last talked about it.
I don't know much about it, but I do need to pee if we're gonna keep going for longer. How long? Where are we at? I'm just gonna go pee.
We're at about an hour.
All right, I'm just gonna go pee.
Okay, that's cool.
Um,
Son of a bitch. Hold on. I gotta wiggle that way.
it's difficult to get out of.
Squeeze through.
Mainly all I wanted to say about the situation is like at the time when we first originally talked about it, like it was very new and there was a lot
I
of.
don't think we ever talked about it.
Yeah, me and you talked about it a little bit, did we not?
Situation? I don't think so.
I thought we did talk about that.
Me and you did.
Oh, okay. Well,
We talked about it at length.
anyway,
Let's
like.
get into it. We have no time limit.
Yeah,
bro.
no, for sure. I was just curious if someone else was on something before, I changed
Oh,
the
we can
subject.
talk drones, bro.
But
Drones
anyway,
/
I mean,
UFOs.
obviously, if nobody's seen it, it's like all over the fucking internet. There's like fucking sightings, literally, like you name it. Basically, damn near every country, like all over the place. But like, in the U.S., it's mainly been centered around the situation in New Jersey, and like most of that shit to me, like most of it looks like fixed wing aircraft or like small drones. So actually, some of them are like pretty large, but like looking into the situation more and more, like I've been doing, like they like all the drones that at least in the New Jersey area are all like following like the FAA, like the rules, like having like lights like indicating like the edges of the aircraft and everything, like, and that to me like says that obviously like it's not a foreign adversary
For sure.
because if it was one, we wouldn't be putting up with it the way that we are. And I don't think it's alien technology, at least not the New Jersey shit, because one, none of the shit is moving like, you know, like crazy, you know, taking off from like, you know,
it doesn't
stand
have, like,
still, and doing
gravitational
defying
propulsion or
defying the like the known, you know, physics that we that everything else abides to. But yeah, so like I honestly think that the New Jersey situation is us. Like now what we are doing, I don't necessarily have any information as far as that goes, but I 100% think that shit's the US government. But I have seen some videos, and I've sent you guys some videos of some shit that is definitely crazy looking, and like shit changing shape in midair and like different stuff. And like there's been sightings in like the Netherlands and Brazil and California and here in Ohio, like near Dayton, in China, like all these different places. And some of them are like fucking crazy.
I want to hear Jack's take on it because he's just being a quiet little bitch.
No,
Let's let him get there. Let's let him get there.
No,
yeah, I don't know. There's a couple of theories that I think have a lot of like probability.
If you want to unscrew that.
Gotcha. I don't know who's familiar with Project Bluebeam, but you know, essentially that would be
Blue Beam or Blue Book?
Bluebeam. It could be summarized as just a program that our government has to set up distractions, sometimes through false flag events, to take attention away from other things that might be going on. So that's one theory that I've seen a lot of people talk about. One of the more interesting...
Take attention away, or there's also the thought of using it to unite the world into like a one world government type situation, like through a false alien invasion. But
yeah, like a fake alien invasion that would unify every country type thing, for sure. That's one of the ones that I think, you know, there's definitely a lot of evidence adjacent at the least. The other one I really like is the idea, I mean, you were talking about, I mean, I don't like it. It'd be terrifying. But the possibility that there would be a nuclear bomb on American soil, and they're looking for it through heat signatures. That's why they're out at night. But I've heard some people... Well, like
That's
the
what
argument
some
would be
people are
our
saying.
government would be looking for like a nuclear bomb
either
that
a
terrorists
dirty
have got
bomb
on our
or just radioactive material that could be used to like create some sort of a bomb or something like that. And I do know what you're talking about. Like I've seen the theories around that, and supposedly there was.
Fuck would a terrorist organization build a nuclear bomb on our soil?
Well, this is the thing why there's like some like credence to that from some standpoint. There's two different situations. There was a rail car that supposedly like showed up where it was supposed to, like damaged, and like the contents of what it was supposed to be carrying were missing, and it was supposedly some sort of radioactive material. Now, like, I saw that shit, and I've seen people talking about that as well. My thing, though, like, as far as that goes, now I'm not saying that we're clearly like inept in certain areas, and I could see us fucking screwing the pooch on something like that and allowing something stupid like that to happen. But like, if you're transporting something that is like effectively could become a nuclear weapon, I feel like it wouldn't just be like, all right, shut up the rail car, send it on its way, you know, we'll see it when it gets to the other side. I just feel like
because you're transporting like materials that could turn into a nuclear weapon doesn't mean that a terrorist can build a nuclear weapon.
No, but that's like the whole, like, that's what there's like some people are speculating that they're looking for the materials that could
sound a little insane.
That could then, well, they're supposedly like,
well, it's sensitive material that went missing.
That's the thing. They're just trying to find like
there's a difference between nuclear material missing and building a nuclear weapon.
For sure.
And then all these drones looking for it on our own territory. party.
Well, my opinion would actually be that our government would have a hand in it. Someone in the intelligence agency is trying to regain power or retain power, and they're doing something to set up a situation that they could use to justify, a false flag event. That's where I would be with it. I would assume that. I mean, because like, look at all the things we've done to our own people. Like, you mean to tell me that we wouldn't, or some portion of our government wouldn't be like, yeah, okay, let's fuck these people up and remind them who's in charge.
I personally don't think that it is from our government or a foreign government, just because we've had technology for years now that can put a drone way higher than we can detect and still fucking. I mean, we've had satellites since what, like the 70s, fucking shit like that. Well, hold up, we have technology that can what's the word for it? They can see what the fuck we're doing. I think that if this is something that is like malicious in nature, and because they're not following the actual like guidelines in order to fly a drone or whatever, that's already been established. Whether or not that's propagated by the media is one thing or another. But I think that if it is set in that narrative, that it's probably like one of these big corporations trying to spy on the government, billionaires, whatever the fuck they want to spy on. Or
I as far as like flying commercial drones or things like that, like there's certain like licenses and shit that you have to have, but like they are like, these drones are abiding by like the FAA regulations as far as like they have lights on them like showing where they are.
There's
like
so much media coverage on it.
Well, that's the thing, because the main reason there's so much media coverage is because like the government and everyone is saying that like, oh, we don't know what it is, we're not sure, we're like, and like there's no way that the military doesn't have knowledge of what they are or where they're coming from.
If it was truly something that was malicious in nature towards our government, it would get shot down.
Is it just?
Well, for sure. That's why I'm saying. That's why I think it is our government.
And that's why I don't think it is our government. That's why I think that it's someone who has power, but not necessarily a government official, like
not a government official, but like a military, like
a Raytheon type shit.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like something like that. That's why he's saying like if they were looking for something like trying to detect certain signatures or radiation or something like that, like because something is missing, like and they're searching for it, like that's like what some people are theorizing.
It's just a theory.
The government is searching for the
something that went.
That was the first thing I said. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what like if we were the ones operating these drones, that's what I'm saying. One theory is we would be doing is looking for the materials
that was stolen
at night.
That supposedly there was a rail car that showed up to its destination and it was damaged, and the contents that were supposed to be in there were missing, and it was supposedly some sort of radioactive material or something to that nature. And that's why I was saying like that the reason that doesn't like have any credibility to me is just because if you're transporting something like that could be dangerous, I don't think you're just going to put it on a rail car, send it on its way, and wait for it to show up on the other end.
I don't know, man.
That shit all the time,
people flunk their jobs just because they fucking, I don't know. I've been thinking about this a lot lately, but and I won't say his name, but one of our buddies is right now like stuck off the coast of Singapore because the big ass ship that they're all stationed on broke down. That's insane. There's several layers of protocol that should make sure that never happens.
You were on the podcast when we had, what was it, New Israel or New Palestine or whatever, that Ohio train thing where it exploded or whatever. Mm-hmm. We had a guy who does that for a living that cleans up those those waste.
I remember that podcast. It was a good one.
Yeah, like that shit happens, man.
For sure. Like, I mean, and there's obviously different chemicals that if get mixed together can be like way more deadly, and like they could just be like normal on their own or like used for like household cleaners and everyday shit like that. But like that's different than radioactive material. Like,
true.
So, and that was what I was saying about the situation.
What were you saying about that though? Because you were talking about this a little bit before too, about just people kind of fucking up on a job.
I think I don't know. In my experience, every job I've ever had, I've if I had felt like I could get away with half-assing it, I did. And so did so many other people. I feel like it's kind of like, at the end of the day, it's like unchecked power. Well, it's like, what's the point of rules if nobody's going to enforce them type shit, And that kind of stuff happens, And every job I've ever had, I've started to ask other people about it and more like, what you would consider more professional fields.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people would just have that attitude, like, hey, we got to get this shit done. Fuck that paperwork, or, fuck double checking that, or,
There's always two sets of rules at a job. The sets of rules that are in effect when the bosses are around, and like the sets of rules that everybody follows when the bosses aren't around. And
sometimes the
For sure.
bosses are the ones who encourage
oh yeah, in certain
when their
situations,
bosses aren't around.
we got
Especially if they're slackers, they're like, I don't want to make people think I'm a dick. So like, hey, why don't you slack off a little bit? Now we can all slack off.
Yeah, we got to hit these numbers.
For sure.
I don't care what you have to do. We have to hit these numbers.
Right.
Yeah, and I mean, in certain situations like that, like, that can be a massive problem, like, especially if people are just continuing to be like, oh, it'll be all right. Somebody before us did their job, it can cause a massive fucking
It's a
problem.
big issue, and I don't know enough cultures well enough to like assume this, but it's a big issue in American culture. We just have a good bit of people who just don't work hard,
Also
or
just
don't sustainably work hard.
It's like a fucking two sides of the same coin, where you have people that really just don't have work ethic. They don't have an idea of what it means to be proud of what they do for, regardless of what they like it. But there's also the other side of it that's just like corporate greed, like, and all that stuff that really, like, there's a lack of incentive to be
For sure.
an overachiever
Yeah.
in most jobs. that
You usually get more put on you with less pay if you're a good worker,
100%.
especially early on.
100%.
Yep. Oh wait, you can do the same work that these other two people can do by yourself. Well, we're just not going to give you help anymore. Like, why would we put an extra body there when you can handle it? It's like, well, wait, am I getting paid his salary and mine? Absolutely not.
The only reward for fucking hard work is more hard work.
That's why, like, I honestly, back in the day, like, there were like a shit ton of jobs where you got paid based on quotas. And like, I understand why that. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, as a good worker and someone who works hard, like that would be awesome. But like,
I've always been scared of those jobs just because of like the daunting task of a commission type job.
Well, like the reason why like it doesn't work like in like factory sense or like things like that is because one, like, if everybody's crushing it and like in hitting these new quotas like to make more money, now they're just gonna up what is expected, and now you're not making more money because now the quota's higher because everyone has proved that they can do this. And
everyone.
Well, that's what it's like to
it's
a certain
usually fucking a couple guys doing the work for everyone else, and the other guys luck out because they just
for sure. But that's what I'm saying. Like why the quota thing can't work in that aspect is because like inevitably like that's the company's just going to be like, well, why are we paying these people extra money? Like,
well,
it just raised the quota.
At my job, it like I could see performance, like individual performance based pay, making an incredible difference. It might inspire the shittier workers to do a little bit more or just run them out, and also it would make the people who actually go hard as fuck and make the place go
deserve it.
Stay,
give them more money that they deserve.
I fucking like double the average of like expectancy of like per person that works there, like, and
I believe it.
It's
dude, every single
it's hard to get a thank you or a holy shit, dude, you killed it, like.
Yeah, you don't even. Yeah, you're right.
Which I don't think you necessarily need if you're being compensated.
No, but it goes a long way
for it.
It goes a long. No, if you're being compensated for it, I definitely don't need it.
Yeah, but to be completely honest with you, I could give a fuck about your good job. I don't give a fuck. I know I'm doing a good job.
No, I feel it.
I know damn well I'm doing a good job.
I think what he's saying is like just some acknowledgement of like, yeah, you kick ass all the time. I feel you. I don't really want that.
That's the point I'm
making.
Else. But like in the reality where that is not the case, like hey dude, that's fucking badass that you did this. Goes a long fucking way. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been a little bit vocal about that in my jobs, though. Like, I don't care about your fucking pizza party that you're giving us at the end of the year. I just want you to pay me more money for the work that I do.
You like the little 1/16 slice, like you're in third grade,
Speaking of that, and like incentives and things like in that general area. So like,
hold up. I want to continue on with this one a little bit.
Jim. Yeah, it's in relation to that. But
okay.
Yeah, like so. At my job, like for like Christmas, like regular employees are able to be put into like a raffle but you have to have perfect attendance in order to qualify for it. So like 5 or 6 people get a gift, like if you're the one that gets drawn for the thing or whatever. Mm-hmm. So like and there's like 400 workers, so like your percentage, like chance of getting is like 1%, like basically, but like, and that's like, you know, just to try to get people to show up around the holidays. At least that's the way that I look at it. But like the supervisors and all the people that like don't actually do the work, they all get their bonuses. You know what I'm saying? Like regardless, like they all get, like they're not in a raffle or a percentage. Like only like, and there's way less of them. But like say, only 25% of you guys get your bonus. Like that would be absolutely no. But like, you know, like that's why like it's insulting to me that they even do that shit. Like
yeah, and it's shitty. But and this is actually what I was going to say when we were kind of doing our little thing before. The amount of disconnect in every single job that I have had between management and the people who actually work is absolutely ridiculous, bro. Like the people who actually own the business and fucking are like responsible have no idea
what's going on in the
field. What to even do. Like you put them out in the field to do the job that they manage every single day, they have no idea how to do it. Yeah. No fucking clue.
I almost think
they depend on their good employees to fix the issues.
I almost think that's a plan thing, like to keep a certain amount of distance between each link in the chain of command, to where it like.
You know what I think it is? Because I talk to a lot of the people who are like on my level and shit like that. None of them want a management role because they know the hassle that it comes with. So I think that genuinely stupid people are the people that go into the management role because they don't know any better. They don't know how to fucking get dirty and fucking actually work with their hands and do the shit that they need to. So they end up managing instead.
I agree.
I don't think that it's that much of a hassle though. Like you're just literally having to deal with like dumb shit. But I don't think that's actually like much of a hassle. Like I mean, I guess it's like
it only looks like a hassle because the people who do take the job without knowing the job they're telling everybody to do, they get no respect. They get no respect because they're a boss and not a leader. They can't get in and do the fucking shit with them.
Well said.
And as soon as they walk away, you want to be like, you don't even want to perform for people like that, you know?
Yeah.
Dude, morality at a workplace is goes a huge fucking way, like in like how successful things are ran. And dude, I've felt this way forever. If I ever owned a company, like work, like you would get paid more, like at the end of the year, like everyone would get a bonus if like at the end of the year the company's profit margin like was higher than it was the year before. That means that everyone did their job and kicked ass. So like that whatever that profit margin is, if you gave a percentage of that to like everybody who made that happen, think about how much more each individual would want to work and make sure the company. Make sure we're not wasting money on dumb shit because it's going to reflect at the end of the year in how much money that you're getting.
I pitched this idea to my boss fucking forever ago. It's been about a year and a half or whatever. We have issues with like people doing just enough work like we've been talking about and everything. I was like, look, we can keep the schedule exactly the way it is. Does it take an hour to replace a piece of glass in this window? No, it does not. It takes about 30 minutes or whatever. But people don't come back to the shop and pick up more jobs. I'm like, if you incentivize doing more work and paying them like 5% of the job when they come back and do it, I was like, you will not only find that you're going from like $80,000 or not $80,000, like $10,000 a month to $12,000 a month, and fucking like, and that puts more money in their pocket. That incentivizes them to do more work. You bring in more money. That brings in more customers, and just so on and so on. And just
how could it not be good for the business?
How could it not be good? But why does no business ever choose that model?
Dude,
like,
I don't
it doesn't
understand.
make any sense.
That guy that
and
fucking...
there's been a couple. Some of the guys that I work with at their old jobs or whatever, they used to do that. And they're like, we made fucking bank there, and I was like, it just doesn't make sense. They ended up having a bunch of bad people coming in, and fucking they ended up selling out to corporate, and then it just changed. So.
That CEO in like Seattle or whatever that got the job and then gave everybody fucking like raises to like, you know, to like a minimum salary of like $70,000 a year or whatever. Mm-hmm. That company fucking like did so well like after they did that
it
because
became like a study case at Harvard.
Yeah, because all the like employees like you have some incentive for the company to do well. You know what I'm saying? Like it only makes sense to me. But the problem is fucking greed. Like. Yeah, at the end of the day, it's fucking greed.
Yeah.
And
if I can actively say that my boss is not fucking hoarding 75% of the money, things would go a lot better.
No, I believe it.
Also, like the whole CEO thing, I don't know who said it originally, but like empathy really only does reach your line of sight, and these people don't see. Like they're so blissfully unaware of the fact that the people they are just absolutely fucking every day are the ones who keep their fucking keep their shit flowing. You know?
Sometimes I don't even think that it's that they're knowingly fucking them. I just think
That's what you're saying. It's only line of sight. So the people that they don't see, they're the ones that are getting fucked because they don't even realize that those people are getting fucked because they can't even comprehend that there's people in a lower fucking they only
class than them.
They only see these people at like on a day-to-day basis like that they work around. So they like anyone that's beyond that they just like are unaware of. And
people a couple levels below them also have no reason to fucking complain. They got it pretty fucking good compared to the people who keep the company running. So like it's just the power dynamic.
I think it's more of like to accept a job like to be a CEO. A chief executive officer, you have to be willing to trade out your moral compass for, back up a little bit.
Just a little bit.
You have to be willing to trade out your moral compass for the desire to make money for your shareholders because that's all it is. Mm-hmm. That's all it is. If you're not willing to do that, you're not going to be a good CEO. So that's why these people do it and they get caught up in it. And it goes back to what you're saying, like, do you believe in good and evil? I think there's people who represent evil as we see it. Do I believe in actually good and evil? I don't know. I mean, obviously there's people who've done some horrendous shit. But when you take away context, it's hard to judge. And some people are just mentally ill. So I don't know how you weigh that shit in. Not going to get into that.
Yeah, you said a lot of shit there. With the whole, I don't know how to go about this.
Dead air.
Yeah. I got something. I got something.
Let me think for a second. I'm sorry, you stumped me there because you did say like a bunch of shit.
A lot of shit.
I honestly like don't 100% believe this. Like I'm pretty sure someone could probably argue some points and like get me out of this like line of thought. But like I've always thought like it's like especially because like greed is a massive problem. Like if we lived in a society and like don't get me wrong, I'm like super far away from being socialist or anything. But like if you like make a like beyond a certain amount of money, like it should be capped. Like where you can only make like if you make beyond this amount of money. Well, listen, no, this is where it's different. If you make beyond a certain amount of money, like you don't, that money doesn't just get forfeited and go to. You guys listening?
Yeah, sorry.
So that money doesn't just get forfeited and go to whatever somebody else decides that it goes to. But like you can only make like so much like and anything beyond that, like you actually get to choose what programs it goes to or what things like incentives and things like that you are interested in and that you would like to change and have change, like, you know what I'm saying? So like it doesn't just
start over. I'm sorry. I'm trying to smoke a cig right now. I didn't hear.
So say like in this like for an example, this like amount would be if something astronomical. I'm not saying like, oh, you can only make $1 million and that's it. You know what I'm saying? But like, so say you're like making $1 billion a year or something like that. So like once you get to that billion, like that's capped. Like if you're making $1 billion a year, you're making more money than you could even spend in a year. You know what I'm saying? Like, so if you're making $7 billion a year, you can make that billion and that's it. Like as far as what you earn, and then anything beyond that doesn't just get taken from you, and like someone else decides what it goes to, but you get to decide what you want to affect with that money that you made beyond that point. So like if you think that these areas are something that need help or like you can make an impact on, you get to actually have influence on what that goes towards, as opposed to that fucking money just going into a bank account that's literally
that was the question I was going to ask. Yeah, where's it go? You're saying
they get to decide, like, so like, okay, this other $7 billion that I made this year, like I think that this is something that could improve the whole country or whatever. Like I want it to go to infrastructure or whatever. Our bridges suck. You know what I'm saying? These things need to be fixed, blah, blah, blah. So this is like the things that I want it to go towards. But it can't just go and sit in your fucking bank account. Well, like once you've made beyond, you're good. Once you've made beyond that threshold of money for that year, and you can make $1 billion the next year. But if you make $3 billion the next year, that other $2 billion has to go to something other than just your bank account or your kid's bank account or something like that. It has to go towards benefiting the country. Like if you're able to make that money here in this country, then your money shouldn't.
Is there like legislation that narrows it down to what you can spend it on, or is it what you want to spend it on?
That's kind of where I was coming from. Is like I almost immediately related what you're saying to like what we're dealing with now is people who have enough money more than they need. They get to decide where they spend it, and they spend it to make themselves
this
more money.
Like the main stipulation is you can't just like go around it like the thing by like, oh well, it's gonna go towards this that just like circles back around to make going back into your pocket a different way. You know what I'm saying? Like,
so you're saying there has to be some outside legislation that narrows it down to where you can spend it.
Well, it basically the way that it would have to work is like like there has to be someone that reviews like what your money is going to. Like they can't have influence over it, but just to make sure that you're not doing something to just funnel that money back into yourself.
Well, if they're able to review it, they have some sort of influence over it.
No, they're basically just reviewing it in order to make sure that you're.
But the fact that they're reviewing it makes them have influence over it because they tell you can't spend it on this.
No. They're not saying that you can. They're just literally looking into the situation to make sure that you didn't do some backdoor situation to funnel the money back into yourself. That's it. And then, like, if you're found to have done that, then you're going to lose the right to have influence over what that money goes to.
But it still has influence over it.
No
matter how you cut it, if there's any type of review from an outside source, they have some sort of
it's not a regulation. It's just reviewing to make sure
that
they say,
hey, you're fucking feeding it to your Nepo baby. You can't do that.
I also
That's
feel
influence.
I feel like the I don't know what word I'm looking for. I don't know. This is kind of a topic where, I mean, there's definitely going to be room for flaws, and I don't know. It could
conflict of
well,
interest.
yeah, I mean, it's not a foolproof system. It's just like an idea that I've had. Like,
The system is foolproof.
I'm sure somebody could fucking argue me out of it, most likely. But like I said, it basically the whole concept and thought of the idea is like, once you're making billions or trillions of dollars, like have you ever looked at like ways to understand like the difference between $1 million and $1 billion? Like, do you know how many seconds like 1 million seconds is?
No, I've heard the thing about days before.
It's
though.
like 3 days or something like that. You know how many fucking seconds 1 million or 1 billion seconds is? It's like 31 years.
Right.
So like that.
Wait, 1 million is 3 days, right?
That's what the man says.
Basically,
I'm not. It's like 3 days or
overlook.
3 weeks or something like that. But
that'd be
versus
300
31
days.
years. I can't remember off the top of my head. It's one of the two. It's something very small.
No,
but like compared to 31 years, like that's
1 billion times 100 is 1 billion, so it would be 300 days. Or times 1,000, it'd be 3,000 days.
I don't know.
I don't remember what it is. Exactly.
Look,
But
let's get on the important stuff. What would you do if you made $1 billion in a year?
you mean over that billion?
No, if you just made $1 billion
Two chicks at
and
one
you
time.
could spend that $1 billion, put you on the spot, what would you do? If you need a second, I'll come back to you.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably have to think about that.
Okay, I know what I'd do. You know what you do? Let's hear it.
I think I'd be kind of like where Elon Musk is. I think I'd spend a lot of money for the advancement of just like humanity. Also look out for my people, and I'd take down Big Pharma.
Bro, 100% I'm buying a big-ass yacht, and I'm inviting all of y'all to the party, my first yacht party. But when you get there, I'm already going to be off the coast. And I'm gonna act like I'm gonna come back for you guys, but I'm just gonna peel off
And just leave us with the yacht.
just bounce on my yacht.
No,
yeah.
he's on the yacht and we're on.
I'm
the
on
coast,
the yacht,
like,
yeah.
Like seeing him wave.
You're getting
away
ready for the
and
party, and I took off without you.
That's some Diddy shit, bro.
Something like that.
That's kind of fucked up.
Dude, yachts are expensive to run.
Yeah, bro, fuck all
You
that.
gotta
dude.
pay-
I would
you gotta
definitely
pay
not
high
buy a
money.
yacht just for the just to make sure that's clear.
Those barnacle cleaners,
Yeah, bro,
they ain't
that's
cheap, bro.
that'll get you.
They ain't cheap.
That'll get you.
If I had $1 billion in a year, I would probably try to make an impact on whatever I could to benefit the lives of normal people, as opposed to
I wouldn't.
The only
could give
thing
a
I
fuck
can be
less about
certain
normal
of
people.
is that I would try like desperately hard to be sure that I did a couple things that I felt good about when I ran out of money. really fast. Like, really fast. Really fast.
Dude,
you know, like,
it'd be hard to spend $1 billion.
I'd find a way. Hopefully on a couple good things. Yeah.
Hey.
I damn sure wouldn't buy cars that like cost more than $1 million for one car. I think that's the most ridiculous thing ever, dude. I don't know why. Like that's what I'm saying.
I'd buy
That's
a Ferrari.
That's not anywhere close to $1 million.
Could be.
He'd buy Nazi.
Wait, I guess if you
you bought like a 1980s Ferrari that's like mint fucking.
Where is that Hitler plate? I want that Hitler.
You're gonna get one of his posters, his dog posters, bro.
He
His
just
dog
said
paintings.
I buy Nazi memorabilia, so
For
I was
sure.
like going along with that.
Just his paintings. Just his paintings.
Just his paintings, dude.
Hey, man.
That he could lie about that he did.
We can all admit it. The older and older we get, the more and more we relate to Hitler.
I don't know about.
I
am
don't know
not-
about it.
I don't know to that
Oh,
extent.
not
I'm just saying,
going
if
there.
there weren't,
I've
if-
seen some of his.
If I could have like just Jews not in control of the
All right.
entire media,
I'm not-
I would kill them all.
I'm not sick of any specific group.
Oh,
I don't know.
Lord.
I am so sick of people, bro. Just people in general.
Just all people.
Say it the way
Can
you
I
want
just get
to,
rid of
bro.
all? Can I just get rid of all people?
Say it the way you want to.
Nah, man. People
We know
should-
what you mean by them people.
Oh
and
my
it's black.
god, dude.
No, man. People just. We should gracefully accept extinction. We should just.
Oh man, life's too dope for that bullshit, bro.
Walk hand in hand.
Life's
into
way too
extinction.
cool.
I
Life's
mean,
way
no,
too
life
cool.
is cool. I'm not saying life's not cool.
Super dope, bro.
I'm saying we can only sign so many contracts with Man Bear Pig before we fucking.
I feel
fix
you.
this, know, like,
I'm just saying if my 40s are even like 75% as cool as my 30s.
dude, and 30s have
Little
been dope.
fat. They're
30s have been
so
dope
sick,
so
dude.
far. You know, like
The best, bro.
I'm really sinking into.
They're awesome. They're
I
so much
love
fun.
30s.
I care so much less about so many things, dude. I swear.
I hit 30 and it was not a fun time. I remember.
I loved it,
I remember calling you, or you called me because I was like, it's like, damn, it's my 30th birthday and I feel like just like my youth is over and fucking. It was like I was upset.
You were having a midlife crisis.
At 30, bro. 29 to
straight
30.
up, bro. Fucking like I took a look back at like everything that's happened in my life and I was like 30. I never thought I was gonna make it here.
I didn't
Fucking-
either, but when I got there, I wasn't worried about it. I was worried about it through my 20s, but when I got there, I was just like, dude, I'm kind of ready to be there.
There was a level of acceptance, and it took me a couple weeks to get through it. And now I'm like, still going through the process or whatever. My 30s are better than I thought they would be.
Dude, I had an experience kind of like that one time, but it wasn't because I turned 30. It was because I hit a fucking dab way too hard. And like talk about going
That'll
back
always
and
get
like in like psychoanalyzing your whole
Right.
life. Like, why
Trip it
did I
out.
do this? Why like that shit? Fucking, I didn't understand like that about how like weed is considered a hallucinogen until that
It's
day.
still
and then
the
I was
drug
like,
I'm most afraid
and
to
I was like,
overdo.
Oh, yeah.
whoa,
100%.
dude, when you didn't you eat way too many edibles at Bunbury one year?
Bro,
Was that-
yeah, me and Stavi. Oh
Dude, I
my
remember
god,
I made
dude.
a joke.
Yeah,
I was like,
about-
dude, you want to snatch somebody's kid? And you were
Yeah.
like,
No, dude, I was like, I think Jack
don't
was
even
like,
say that, bro.
Jack was like 4 at the time, and such a joke about stealing a kid was so like, it just like,
It was
oh,
just
gross.
obviously crossed your line.
Well, like, cause like I've had those, like, if you're a young parent, I think especially for your
It's something
first
you-
one, yeah, I had like real fears of like, god damn, I can't let my kid outside without me, bro. Like I remember when he was like 3 or 4, he hid from me. It was right when he was getting to hide and seek, and he didn't respond to me looking for him. So like after 30 minutes, I'm freaking out.
You're right.
I've got the neighbors out of the house. I'm like, little Jack's gone. Like all the neighbors are out. There's dudes on his ATV riding up and down the road, bro. And then after,
Okay.
I swear, bro, it was
Got on
crazy.
ATV, fucking.
Looking for my kid, bro. The whole neighborhood was behind it. They
Well,
all knew
you
little
were
Jackie.
legitimately worried,
And I was
so everybody's
freaking
like, yeah,
out.
dude,
Like, I was
got
knocking
The
you.
on
fact
doors,
that there was a
flipping
guy
the
on an
fuck out.
ATV says a lot about the scenario that we're in.
Yeah,
man.
he was about it. He was trying to help
It
me.
makes sense that you lost your kid.
No, well, no, but then
He
I
was
go
hiding.
back. I go
Thank
back
you.
inside, and after 3 hours, I'm like, Jack, if you're in here, please come out, buddy. I said it's not funny, and he starts laughing, bro. And he was hiding in a closet behind my mom's fucking clothes upstairs the whole fucking time. And I'm telling you, I was flipping, bro. Like that was like a core traumatic. Like, oh my god, I fucked up. I lost my kid,
Yeah.
and it stayed with me all through his life, dude. All through his life.
And when you're that high on fucking,
I wasn't even high then. I was sober
Well,
as
no,
shit.
no,
at
I'm
home.
talking
I
about
wasn't at
when
a
I
festival.
made the
Yeah.
joke.
Yeah.
Like that's the kind of shit that you'll think of when you're
Right.
way too high on weed. Is like the shit you fucked up.
Weren't we
You
looking
know?
for a place for me to vomit because my stomach was unsettled?
It
Like
was
you made a
shortly after
joke
that.
right about then, like, and I was like, dude, this is not the time.
No, I think you vomited for the first time shortly after that. I had like that's how I realized like, oh yeah, he's handling this differently than me. You know, like I was just fucking geeking, dude.
It'll reset you, man, for sure. Fucking being high, like we've all done our fair amount of psychedelics and shit like that, but the most severe I've ever felt from like a psychedelic is weed.
Yeah, like I'm so ready to come down,
dude.
Like I'm so fucking.
When it
ready.
got legalized in Ohio, I went and I got these 10 milligram fucking gummies from and like I've done fucking gummies way higher percentage than that, and
well, that's
like,
a perfect example of people who are doing their job are high as fuck, and I guarantee those
well, it's not even that. When I did that, I was on some other shit, so fucking it kind of counterbalanced or whatever. I took 2 of these bitches, and I was sitting in my fucking living room right in there, and I was just like, "What are you doing, you filthy piece of shit?"
yeah.
I
Dude, that was me when
why
I hit
are
that
you
dab,
the
dude."
way you are? Why do you say the things you do?
should be
Fucking-
100%.
Why did you ask that girl out in 5th grade?
Dude,
and she
so
said
we had
no?
we
Like,
had the
fucking-
same
Facts,
experience,
bro.
dude. We had the
I'm
same
so
experience.
aware of my teeth right now, and it fucking hurts.
We had the same experience, dude. Psychoanalyzing every decision I've ever made in my life. Like, why were you such an asshole to all those people for no reason? Like, yeah, dude, for sure.
I've never thought about that, to be honest with you.
No, only that one time on weed, bro. Other than that, like, not a big deal. But
Because I'm an asshole.
Well,
Fucking, I just roll with it.
Yeah, man. I mean, but that's the thing is like it's your mind like you're being way overly analyzing and overly aware of the things that you really like may have ended up like regretting or not liking about yourself. Like it'll just
yeah,
fucking
like,
focus in
shit,
on that.
shit that
Yeah,
probably
like-
exists in your subconscious like all the time, but you don't ever think about it. It like doesn't actually affect you, and then like all of a sudden it's like coming out like in this moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
Dude, I don't know if you guys have anything else you want to talk about, but I have got to go to sleep soon. So
I'm gonna piss my pants.
That's cool. Well, why don't you piss?
Okay.
We'll wait for Jack to get back in here. Can we do what we've been sipping on?
For
and
sure.
then
Oh,
fucking-
true. Yeah, we can do that. We can do that.
for sure.
So,
I just I got to work at 11 tomorrow. So
All right. Well, let me pee real quick, and we'll do that.
okay, we'll get to the last segment. I'm cool with that.
Dude, we should talk about your new segment. The 5 things I hate most right now.
We never talked about pooping either.
I have a whole list we never got to. I wanted to talk about how embarrassing the Bengals are, but
We can't do that with Justin.
yeah, for sure.
Dude, I was telling Justin earlier. He said he heard it from someone else, but like, I just want to like briefly touch on it since you brought up football. How fucking badass! Obviously, it sucks that Montgomery's hurt, but how badass is fucking Gibbs and Montgomery going by fucking Sonic and Knuckles as a fucking 1-2 combo? That's the coolest fucking 1-2 running back nickname I've ever heard.
It's pretty dope. You're right.
Fucking Sonic and Knuckles. That shit's
They
so
could go by
badass.
Dirty and Sprite. That'd be a lot better.
Dirty and Sprite.
Yeah, nah, fucking that'd be hard.
It sucks that Montgomery got hurt.
On that lane, bro.
Yeah, dude. They need their defense to step it up come playoff time.
For
well,
sure.
they have so many injuries.
Yeah,
It's
dude, that
absolutely ridiculous.
injuries fucking define NFL seasons every year, man. And that would totally suck for
Yeah,
them.
but it's a
if-
difference to have 22 injuries on your team compared to the second most, which is like 14.
Dude, it sucks. Well, a few years ago when Vrabel was still with the Titans, they had like 30 something guys on IR or something like that. They ended up having
IR? Is that
yeah,
impossible?
yeah. They ended up having
I
90.
don't think
It
that's
was
even, you're only allowed to have like 2-3
no
guys
once
on IR.
no not IR recall. Just like once you get on IR for the season and you're done, then you can bring someone else up to the roster to replace them. Like from the beginning of the year, how many guys they had on their roster to the end. Like how many guys were actually on their active roster throughout the year was like 90 something guys. Like obviously not 90 at one time, but like they had that many guys go on IR that they had like they had like no name guys actually playing, like, you know, like several undrafted guys, and like it was crazy. The Titans were so banged up that year. It was something fucking wild.
Well, you're gay. So there's that.
That's
We're going to move
facts.
on to the last segment. I got to pee. So
That's the
I
last
don't know
segment.
if you want to go for another 5 minutes or if you just want to talk about what you've been sipping on. But I'm gonna go pee, and fucking when I come back, I'm just gonna dive back into this conversation.
Go pee, bud.
Cool. Who wants to start? What you been sipping on?
All right. I'd like to say, fucking G Yamazawa. People need to know. People need to know
The
about
rapper?
G Yamazawa. One of the dopest things I've found lately. Every time I find a new song, it's like, this is sick too. And every time I ask about him, nobody seems to know.
I can't
They need
remember.
to know.
I told you that there was one song of his that I had heard.
One I sent you was Drummasum.
Yeah, I had heard that one
Banger.
before. I don't know how I got put onto him, but it was cool. It was like very like cool and unique rapper. I would definitely say.
It's just a good sound. The beats are tight. His flows are tight. Yeah, I just feel like he's a very overlooked artist.
I've been listening to a lot of Big X the Plug recently. I fucking love that dude's music.
He's got a cool vibe.
Yeah.
Cool vibe. But also, as far as like more like visual media, I started this show the other night that I'm really excited to watch more of, called Scavenger's Reign. It's an HBO Max original. It's an animated, like it's an animated show. It's about this like crew of like space colonists that get marooned on this planet and kind of just get like pulled up into the fact that they are like not part of the natural ecosystem and they're not top of the food chain. Like
Holy
there's
shit.
There's
Well,
this,
how long has it been on there?
It's been on Max for a while. I remember seeing it, but it recently got put on Netflix, and I just decided to watch it. And the first 2 episodes got me so interested, bro. There's this one guy who's like,
That sounds cool.
there's 2 of them that are marooned by themselves, but one of them gets like mixed up with this super intelligent alien species that uses telepathy to like make other species like do its bidding.
Mm-hmm.
And like they end up connecting with him and using it on him, and now every time he sees the one that did the telepathy on him, he sees his like ex-wife, and he's just like following his
Instead
ex-wife.
of the being like he's
and he's just following her into like this. Yeah, dude, it's wild, bro.
That's crazy.
It's pretty. Yeah, it's a pretty good setup. But yeah,
What were you talking about?
Scavenger's Reign.
TV show.
It's this animated show. Dude. Yeah, I stumbled upon it. It's
Okay,
pretty.
it came out in 2023. There's only 1 season of it so far, but that sounds interesting as fuck. I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah,
Yeah, never heard of that.
You missed what I said about it, but I mean, I won't repeat it for the podcast.
I caught it at
I'll
the
tell you
end of
about
it, or whatever.
Yeah, but it's pretty interesting.
Well, fair enough.
What about you, Jack? What have you been sipping on?
We're gonna kind of blow past music. My Spotify Wrapped came out, and it's like just dad rock and butt rock because I listened to it with Baby Jackie. Like it was
Did you say butt rock?
yeah, it's
That's
like
what I thought he said.
so
I
like,
was like,
people call butt rock like same thing as dad rock, but sometimes a little worse, like Creed or like shit like that. It's like
Why is it butt rock?
because people hate on it. Because people hate on it. No, dude. First of all, don't get me started on
No,
how
I'm
dope
not saying
Creed
like
is.
just like the
yeah,
general.
people hate on it. It's the cool thing to hate on
They
it.
call it dad rock because it's music.
Nobody
dads
hates
listen
on
to-
fucking
listen
Creed.
to.
But you're out of your
Yeah,
mind.
yeah.
Who hates on Creed?
Creed is
Most
so
of
Point
my
them out, I'll
friends.
make sure they never do it again.
Dude, talk to Cavs about Creed.
Nickelback.
Dude,
I
Cavs
know.
ain't fucking telling me shit about Creed.
Nickelback
bro.
is butt rock for sure. Then
Yeah, but
Dude, even
Creed
Nickelback's
actually has
got some
bangers.
bangers.
Yeah,
I'm not
so
gonna
butt
act
rock
like
is
that.
just like their butt.
I'm
they
not gonna
fucking
act
shit.
yeah, I assume that's where it
yeah,
comes
something
from.
like that. I don't know. I've
No
heard it a
one's
couple
ever said
times.
that about fucking Creed. And
Bro, someone. My top
Cavs
five.
doesn't
Like,
count, dude.
no, he's not the
Because
only
he looks
one.
good
Do you
in the
think
crop
he's the only
top doesn't
one?
mean that fucking he has anything to say about
if you
it.
don't know
Shit,
about,
go on the internet and just type in
talk about
Creed
Creed
and you'll
on Reddit.
You'll
See what
how-
happens.
Yeah, I'll see like the Apostles' Creed, one of the greatest prayers in fucking the Catholic religion. Fucking-
anyway, so I was gonna skip past music, but we talked about it. I've been playing a lot of Zelda with my son. If you don't play Zelda, I'm gonna judge you as a
Yeah,
human being.
yeah,
I'm
it's
sorry.
an
It's
immediate
the
red
worst
flag.
thing
Yeah.
that you can do is tell me I've never played Zelda and I have no desire to. I'm like, okay, like I might leave right then. But anyway,
I find
playing
you
a lot of
rather
Zelda.
shallow and pedantic.
Shallow and pedantic for sure. Anyway, so playing a lot of Zelda with my son, a lot of fun. Outside of that, I've been focusing on growing my offensive mind when it comes to coaching football, since I'm coaching football.
There you
finally,
go.
So
That's a big stat, bro.
I know it's
I know
tight.
you've been wanting to do that for a
Study
while.
some,
Bro, I got
study
access-
some Ben Johnson.
I got access to our fucking playbook already, and it's 580 pages, and I've just like been diving in and taking notes.
Are
on
you a
how
head
I'm-
coach or?
No, I'm running the wide receivers for the high
Oh,
school.
okay.
Yeah, I'm over the wide receivers. I'll be working with the tight ends and some with the quarterbacks.
Their routes are going to converge, and they're all going to be drawn. A different
Just
without- without-
my whole offense is phallic shapes, bro. Did you see the?
way. I want you one this way. You guys come up this way.
You just got the bird's eye view up.
Post this way. We're shooting out that bitch.
You got the commentator like, did you see the plums on that one? I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, I've been doing that. That's about it, though. I mean, I could go on about other shit that I do, but that's the coolest stuff.
Speaking of phallic shapes in football, have you guys ever seen those memes about is football gay? Where like it's just like people reacting to
Dude, I've seen so many montages of like commentators saying the most outrageous
all the
shit.
time. Dude, the one earlier, like the ad was about this player who was like a freshman cooking meats, like his dad did.
Did
He
you-
was
I
like,
love
"Look at
smoking meats.
I
Like,
love those
I
smoked
spent
meats.
days
Dude, it's
smoking
so
meats.
funny. Yeah. He literally says he spent days putting these meats in these sauces. Oh, my bad. He spent days. What is it? Soaking these meats in this sauce, dude, or something like that.
Did you hear the one?
So funny.
Did you hear the one that like CBS is getting fined for? It was during the Ohio State Tennessee game where the commentator is just like, "It's a nut and this nut is busting all over your face" or some shit like that. I was like even the other guy who was fucking doing like the color commentary or whatever was like, damn. He was like, no, you shouldn't do that.
Oh gosh.
Wow.
Yeah, you gotta love it, bro. You gotta love the people who
That's
cross the
intense.
line.
Shit, if you could only do it on national television a little bit more.
All right, I'm
Maybe
saying.
you wouldn't have Patrick Mahomes.
All right, well,
Um,
Keith,
I'm
Queef,
still
what have you been
imagining
sipping on?
Jack's playbook, and it's
Just
dick.
It's just mad dick all the way through.
Bro, I really got hype about making my own plays when I was coaching my flag football team. Bro, it's so much fun. Like, Lou would come into the dining room and be like, "You still drawing up plays?" And I'm like, fucking like Charlie in that episode where he's working in the post office. Just like,
Everything's all
what
connected.
is this? I was like scribbling in my book and I got my whole whiteboard.
Fucking
It was so
water
funny.
boy, fucking Coach Klein. You got your high heels on. Your little green
I'm
playbook.
wearing like a wedding dress while I draw it up.
Oh, here.
They're all gone.
Oh, they're all gone.
Yeah, they're all gone.
Is it too late to get more?
No.
It's 1:37. Yeah, it's too late to get more.
Oh, I thought it was 3.
How cool are they at this UDF?
Not that cool.
I think that UDF's closed. There's a 24/7 one, but I don't think they'll get you any alcohol. But whatever. Jeff, what have you been sipping on?
He already did it. It's on you,
I
baby.
did not. But
I thought you started.
No, stop.
Justin did.
Oh, shit.
I mean, I really haven't been watching anything new yet since I finished Arcane.
If you say Critical Role again, I'm gonna slap you.
No, that's what I'm saying. So since we last did it, I mean, really, I have just been fucking really getting into all these drone sightings. Really, I mean, I've been fucking eating that shit up, dude, and then listening to podcasts like crazy. I've been listening to a lot of Sean Ryan's podcast. He has a lot of cool fucking like former special forces people and stuff on there, and they tell some fucking pretty fucking awesome stories and shit. So
I've been getting into podcasts just at work. For some reason, this past 2 weeks at work, I've just been turning on a podcast while I'm like just working at my desk or whatever, and it's one of those things where like you can check out and you don't need to listen to it, but you can come back
completely,
and kind of like realize what they're saying.
It's the best time to listen to a podcast, in my opinion.
I don't agree with that because like I miss a lot of it, so I don't have like the most educated take on what's going on. Now, when I'm listening to them, some podcasts are a little bit like I need to pause this because the phone rang, so I can like, listen to it all the way out. And other ones are just like I'm just gonna let this one roll, shit like that. But yeah, that's podcasts are. Yeah. I'm gonna see how that goes for me because I think that's like you said, that is a good way to consume podcasts or whatever when you just have nothing to do, as long as you can pay attention a little.
Dude,
Plus,
being
it's
a
like
truck
research for
driver-
you. You got to get better, right?
Yeah,
That's how you learn.
Being a truck driver is great for that. Listening to podcasts and shit, you have hours every day
Helps pass the time out.
where you're literally just driving in a truck. You know, I listen to music some days, but like it's great. You can power through 2 or 3, 3-hour podcasts in a day at work, and so that is a pretty good way to go about things. But
oh yeah. All right, so I'm gonna wrap it up with what I've been sipping on. I've been watching this new anime. It's called Shangri-La Frontier. And it's kind of interesting. Like, at first, I didn't think much of it, but it's one of those things where it's like in the future where like VR is like a thing with video games. And these people are playing the video game, and it's been like one of the games that's been out for like 10 years or some shit. And like everyone, like they know all the ins and outs. There's a lot of people who are maxed out on the MMO or whatever, but this guy comes on and he does something different than the other like 30 million players did. And because he did that, he unlocks like the other 90% of the game. Like they have these hidden story arcs that are in it, and it's cool because like it stays in the realm of like actual video games. Like they have like the whole like
You said it's
like
what, Shangri-La? What?
Shangri-La Frontier. It has like just like this whole like different metas, and they have like DPS tank and healer and stuff like that in that, and like you can tell by the way that they talk that it's like they know what it's like to be a gamer, and just like getting into the aspects of that, it's just a really cool fun show. So and they also do have like the classic anime over the top like fight scenes or whatever that you wouldn't necessarily get in a video game, but in order to make it an anime, it just works well together. But
Hell yeah, dude.
The kind of plot almost makes me think of like Westworld. How the dude like is just searching for like.
I was thinking of Ready Player One.
that too. Yeah, that too.
It's a little bit different.
Well, yeah,
definitely
I'm sure
different
it
than
is,
Westworld. Westworld, I watched a little bit of Westworld, and it was
I
one
never
of those
got
like
past the first season.
you're trying to M. Night Shyamalan me, fucking. It's just like you're getting overly complicated. for
That
no
show's
reason.
I never got
crazy.
past the first season just for, I mean, really I don't have a good reason for it, but I will say, man, that first season and their use of the OK Computer album by Radiohead, like a lot of the songs that they played on the little honky donk piano were fucking from OK Computer, and that shit is just fucking some super cool nuanced shit.
That just reminded me of something. I saw some dude post on Facebook earlier this week. He said something like Deftones is like the epitome of nu metal. Do you consider fucking Deftones nu metal?
I always thought there was the one band that they considered nu metal that belonged in a different
That's like alternative grunge to me. That's
genre.
not fucking nu metal.
Like they didn't fit in with the Korn.
I don't know what you would consider.
I mean, nu metal is Korn.
They definitely don't.
They had some stuff like the thing.
Linkin Park
Not
and-
Korn, Linkin Park,
Yeah,
fucking
Limp
shit like
Bizkit,
that.
But
even,
Deftones had a
Linkin
lot of
Park
stuff
doesn't really
that
fit
wasn't
nu metal
as
either,
like
though.
as like their melodic stuff was definitely what people mostly like the whole like a large swath of people loved because it reached like a different demographic. But they had a lot of really heavy stuff that just
Yeah.
didn't get as much playtime. If you know their discography, they had plenty of tracks that you'd be like, oh, like this is just as heavy as a fucking Korn song, you know,
What is it?
for sure.
But nu metal has like a whole rap persona to it. And shit
See,
like
I thought
right?
that was like what defined
That
it.
is
Like
what
the,
nu
like
metal
the
is.
scratching and the
Yes.
fucking, the hip hop influence
Yeah,
on
like
top of the
we
metal.
have a sampler, we have a rapper,
Korn,
shit like
Limp
that.
Bizkit,
I see what you mean.
And
Limp
they
Bizkit,
all have.
Linkin
you know?
Park.
And Deftones, I was like, not at all. And
Yeah, they
then
definitely didn't
he
have
said,
that.
He said the White Pony album or something, and I listened to it, and I was like, this has a little bit of hip hop influence to it, but not enough for me to consider it nu metal.
Digital
Well,
Bath.
he does rap on a
love that
lot of
song.
his songs. Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, he raps on a he raps
Well,
on
he
a
raps
lot
on
of
a
his
Korn
songs.
song.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
Fucking in Wicked.
I also
Yeah,
don't
it is
listen,
wicked, yeah.
I also don't listen to Deftones enough, so I was like, maybe because I told
Bro.
him I was like, I don't listen
Digital
to enough
Bath.
to know,
There's
but-
Digital
Oh,
Bath is, if you want to fuck to any song, and it's the best song ever to fuck to, is Digital Bath by Deftones. I promise
song
you.
goes so hard.
Psychotic Love
Promise you.
mixtape by Spills on fucking SoundCloud.
If you want to let an 80-year-old woman slide a dildo in your butt,
Bad
listen to
by
that.
Richard Cheese.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Sad.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. All right, y'all. Let's wrap it up.
Let's do it.
Episode 70.
Never wrap it out.
0.5.
Never pull out. This is episode 70 or 71. I'm not sure which one's going out first.
70.5.
Of Your House, Our Rules. Jeff is a conspiracy theorist and a Palestine hater.
I'm going the other way now.
Go fuck him up on all social media.
Don't do that.
This has been
Don't
Your
follow
House, Our
Jeff.
Rules. Peace.